collectors today need to consider. Pressing and dry cleaning comics. If you have a collection that at some point you're likely going to sell, you want to maximize the value of your collection. And the only way to do that is to have it properly pressed and cleaned. In some cases, have some conservation services done. And then, of course, having it graded by a third-party company. That will take all the guesswork out of the book, should you go to sell it down the road. The Comic Doctor has obviously over the last 15 years been able to help a lot of collectors take their collectibles, their comic book collection, books they've had since the 60s or 70s or 80s, catalog them, improve them, encapsulate them. I think the most humbling thing about being the Comic Doctor is that people actually entrust their precious collectibles with me. The main part of my business is giving people peace of mind knowing that, yes, you're going to drop your books off to me, and guess what? You're going to get them back. Well, good evening, friends. Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you with another live CGC unboxing. Tonight we have 2 boxes to share with you. Some interesting books have arrived, and I'm so happy to finally get them out in the open and to share with you guys. I'm Kevin the Comic Doctor. I'm a comic book presser, also an authorized CGC and PSA dealer located up in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. And this is my pseudo-weekly show and tell of client comic books. None of these books belong to me. All these books belong to you, and you all come here to see what your fellow collectors are submitting. Well, there's a great indication of what that is by watching the show. Today, we're also going to talk a little bit about when should you grade a book? What's a good time to grade a book? When should you grade a book? What should you grade? That's a topic that comes up every single week at my shop. In fact, every single week at my shop, guys and gals are bringing in books to share with me and have pre-screen. And the big question always is, well, should I work on this book, have this book worked on? Should I spend the money and have it sent off to CGC or PSA for grading? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And I'm sure it's going to stir some conversation in the chat room too. If you guys haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can also take part in our conversation. Let's see who's here already. Well, Lord Thoth is here. How you doing, Lord Thoth? Good to see you. Dave is in the house. How are you? Bad Hombre, Bad Hombre saying, I'm going to put my 2 cents in on this topic. Yeah. When did you grade Superman #1? I never did grade Superman #1. It was a client book that he wanted prepped and ready for grading. I don't believe he actually sent the book down yet. We had a bit of a dilemma. We weren't sure how to deal with sending the book down. It wasn't so much sending it there that was the problem, was coming back, and the owner wasn't too keen on shipping it and having it shipped back. He wanted to either fly down, have it done, and then bring it back. And then once you bring it back into Canada, how are you dealing with that? How are you dealing with customs and what have you? And so he kind of put a hold on it. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the book right now, but we did have the pleasure of working on that Superman #1. Adam's in the house. How you doing, Adam? Good to see you. Oh, good friend Kev's in the house all the way from Salinas, California. How you doing, Kev? Good to see you. And let's get started. Let's start off with look at, I always like to start with a 9/8, and look at this 9/8 copy of Amazing Spider-Man 361 direct copy right there. Again, that just kind of happened, guys. I did not. Stick it there. It was just there. And here's another 9/8. Lobo #1. This book started picking up steam about a year and a half ago. Once they announced Jason Momoa was going to be playing Lobo in that Supergirl movie. Unfortunately, well, if you saw the movie, it's an unfortunate thing because it wasn't all that great. We also have another 9/8 copy of Eternal Warrior #1, gold variant cover, and 9/8. Before I get started on that conversation about which comics or magazines you should submit for grading, what are your guidelines? Do you have guidelines? Especially nowadays with the expense being so great to have your comic books or magazines graded. Do you have kind of a minimum value, or do you have some kind of a guideline you stick to? Let us know in the comment section, and I will, of course, get to it in just a few moments. We've got a Hellboy, Seed of Destruction, number 2 in a 9.8. We have a Daredevil number 1 with conservation notice in a 4.5. Beautiful book. We have a 9.2 copy of Spider-Woman number 37. I think it's the first appearance of Siren. Yeah, Siren. Banshee's daughter right there. 2 derivative characters. Boom, boom. A nice copy of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, number half by Dark Horse Publication, 1999, and a 9.8. I hope these Buffy books go up because I got a ton of these in storage. A ton. Oh, another one. I have this one too. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What the heck is that? Look at that. 9.8. I was just wondering. It's got a bit of a white mark right there. See that right there? That could be a print error. Anyways, I was wondering about that. Usually when you have a scuff or something like that, they sometimes will hold back the 9.8. We have an X-Men Madness in Murder World number 1 in a 9.4. Spawn number 1, 9.8, right there, direct copy. We have a first appearance of Rogue in a 9.4. And that's a newsstand copy. Did you guys hear about the casting of the new X-Men team? I think so far so good. X-Men 266, 9.6, direct copy. We have a 9.8 copy of Wolverine number 1. And then we have a 9.8 copy of, what is this? Vanguard Illustrated number 2. First appearance of the Stargazers. Right there. Lord Thoth agrees. Yeah, great casting. I was quite happy with it. The girl playing Rogue, the girl from, I forget how to pronounce her name, from Obsession. I had a feeling they were going to cast her. She was just she just took off, right? So I knew they were going to jump on that bandwagon. We've got a 9.8 copy of Alpha Flight, direct copy, beautiful John Byrne cover, one of my favorites. And a 9.8. We have a Bugs Bunny Vacation Funnies number 1 from 1951 and a 6.0. We have a Absolute Superman number 1 in a 9.8. We have an Absolute Wonder Woman in a 9.8. Lots of 9.8s in this book. Quite happy about that. In this box, sorry. Then we have an all-in special. This is the actual first appearance of Absolute Batman, I believe. And here they are. Anyways, all-in special number 1. Sorry, all-in DC special number 1 in a 9.6. Then we got a Gargoyles number 1, newsstand edition. Very cool book in a 9. I always like this book. In a 9.6. And then we have some JSA books. Roger Rabbit number 1, signed by Jonah Cassidy. Right there. And 8.0. And that's also a newsstand. Oh, we got 4 more JSA books here. We have a Tech World number 1 in a 9.8, signed by William Shatner. Right there. Great copy. And a 9.8. We have a Hulk number 377. Dale Keown authenticated signature. Very nice. Great book. Very bright. And 9.8. And then we have a 9.6 Crisis on Infinite Earths, number 11, signed by Perez and Wolfman. Both are authenticated. You've got they're both up here, I believe. Tight. There you go. And then we have a Namor, number 29, with a J. Lee authenticated autograph right there, and a 9.8. Speaking of getting books graded, like, would you grade this book? I don't think if this book did not have that signature on it and did not have the ability to be a 9.8, I don't think this would be a book you would grade, right? I don't think I've ever seen this book graded. And the only reason is because it was high grade and because it was signed by Jay Lee. And that's a pretty good segue into this conversation. Let me just put these guys away really quick. The conversation being when, why, how, when should you get your comics graded? Let's see if anybody has spoken up here. Let's see. Not many people talking about it, I don't think. When, okay. No. Lord Thoth says he's got a short box for grading. Going to drop them off next time. I'll look forward to seeing you for sure, Lord Thoth. Hey, Brent, how's it going? I met Brad from PSA today. Your name came up. Very, very good to finally meet Brad in person. Brad is the fellow who heads up PSA in Mississauga and PSA Canada. And we talked many times online and via text. And we actually talked via Zoom once, but he actually made it out to the shop today and we got to shoot the breeze a little bit and get to know each other a little bit better. It was really nice meeting him. And we talked a little bit about Nova Scotia and some of the happenings over there in the world of comic books. Heck Tech, how's it going? Good to see you. I'm going to mail that magazine. I saw it again today. I got to just mail it to you, my friend. It's been sitting here for a long time. John's here too. Hey, John, how's it going? Good to see you. Get them graded when Kevin has bills to pay. No. Of course, Mr. Daly. He always has something nice to say. So yeah, that's the question I get asked every single week. What should I grade these? Should I grade these books? And the first thing I do is determine the value of the book. And that's what you've got to do. And I try to educate people when they come to the shop on how to go about doing this themselves. And I tell people, like, I'm not a walking human price guide. I wish I were. My brain is getting older and it's forgetting things. Never mind remembering the prices of thousands of different comic books. So you need to, first of all, kind of ascertain the grade the book is currently in and potentially what the grade could be. Now, when it comes to modern books, we all know they have to be really high grade, unless they're a really, really sought after book that still has some value in a 9.6 or a 9.4, 9.8, 9.9. Those are the magic words, right? The magic numbers, I should say. So determining what the value is key. Sitting down with your presser and saying, what can this be? If this is currently a 9.6, 9.8 candidate, will the press kind of really hammer down the potential of this becoming a 9.8? And a good presser will be able to tell you with their experience that what if a book has a real shot at a 9.8. And again, for modern books, that's important. Now, when it comes to older books whose value is high, even in a lower grade, like, for example, say a Batman 181, right? Like the first Poison Ivy. A book like that, even in a lower grade, is worth something. But is it worth getting a 0.5 graded? I don't know. Maybe. That's why looking at values are very important in knowing what the book will be worth if it comes back at a certain grade. And I always say to kind of try to go in the low end. What I mean by that is this. Like we saw here, there was a Gambit. Where was it? Let's see. Is it still here? Give me one sec. Where'd it go? Actually, I'll just use this book right here. Alpha Flight number 1, for example. Here we got a direct copy of Alpha Flight number 1 in a 9.8. I think in a 9.8, it's worth a few bucks. Probably like $300, probably $350 maybe Canadian. and you can price check me if you'd like, because again, I'm not a human walking price guide. Now, if you have a Canadian price variant of this or newsstand, it goes up obviously, but in a direct copy, a 9.8 is worth a few $100s. In a 9.6, the price probably drops down dramatically, and I would guess probably just over the $100 mark. At that point, you're going to be like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? But if you have a high grade copy like this, you might want to chance it, because, you know, sometimes books come back 9.8 that should be 9.6, and sometimes books come back 9.6 that should be 9.8. You know what I'm talking about. We've all been there. So you want to, you sometimes got to take a chance. Don't get me wrong. There's a little bit of, I wouldn't say gambling, but you got to take a chance sometimes. If a book has the potential of being a 9.8, there's always that chance it could come back a 9.6. But if the value is there, then you go for it, especially if the book is really, really nice, like this one probably was. Now, if this book had problems, like say this book had a couple of problems that I saw, and I'm like, I don't think it's going to, I think that's going to really hold it back, then you might say, you know what, I'm going to pass on this one. The chances of it becoming a 9.6 are greater than it becoming a 9.8. Therefore, it's probably not worth the pressing fee, the grading fee, the shipping fees, the taxes if you're in Canada, and that sort of thing. That's what I'm getting at. You have to determine where it's going to be. John, good point. Please hit that like button. Thank you. Bad Hombre, I grade books when I have a good amount of them, most to sell, so they pay for the grading fees of books I keep. But that's a strategy I hear a lot. Guys will have a lot of books to send in, and they'll have a number of books that will be selling books that they're going to sell. Basically, the hobby will sustain itself. So if I send in 10 books, I'm going to designate 3 books for sale to pay for what I just did. Good idea, right? What else? Value of book minimum $250 after grading, and double the value of total cost of comic book raw and grading, pressing, shipping services. So there you go. So Bad Hombre has an actual, he actually has a system in place to ensure that, things are going to hopefully end up a certain way. Good idea to be very conservative when guessing potential. Yes. And I agree with that too. I always say, take off those rose-colored glasses and really be picky. Really be picky. And I'm afraid that collectors are not picky enough. I still have people coming to the shop, handing in books to be graded, and they bought it off a dealer or wherever, and they've never taken the book out of the bag to inspect it. Just the other day, a very nice guy came in, and he had a beautiful copy, which looked like a beautiful copy of ASM 300. As soon as I pulled it out, my eyes went to a spot that looked a little off, and sure enough, it was color touched. And he bought it, and he stored it, didn't take it out. He was waiting to bring it in or to have it graded, but he didn't inspect it, and he should have. So yeah, be very conservative with your grades. Always be really, really picky. Again, especially with the modern stuff, because the modern stuff, like I said, oftentimes, if they don't come back in 9.8, it may not be worth doing. And when I say doing, I mean having them pressed and graded. Bad Hombre also says pre-screen 9.8 for books 76 to present. And again, you got Bad Hombre, who's extremely strict when he comes to his grading, when he buys his books. And he'll bring the books in, and they're almost perfect as they are. And they always have a little ding or a little dent that needs to be taken out. And he's had great success with the 9.8 pre-screens. It's always a good thing to do too, especially with the moderns, because the prices just jump up so much when they're in a 9.8. Is CGC still on the fence for the opt-out from grading if book has no. They've never done that. I wish they would do that. That'd be so amazing if they would do that. But no, they don't. They just bill you. They charge you, and that's it. You pay. And you send a book in. If it's got color touch, so be it. And we never guarantee that we're catching color touch either. We usually do, but sometimes color touch can be extremely subtle, very, very minute. And sometimes, again, I don't care. I'm going to say it. Sometimes they'll say there's color touch on the book when I don't believe there's color touch on the book. There was a book we had recently, and we sent it in to have color touch removal done by CCS because I couldn't find it. I looked, and the book looked super clean to me. There was one spot that maybe had it, at one point, but it wasn't there anymore. We didn't take it off. And I think they were just being very, very picky about it. Anyhow, the book ended up going to CCS to have the color touch removal. And yeah, I always appreciate the time you take with me to go over my books before choosing which to submit. I wish I had more time to do that too, Adam. And you know, that's a part of I turn away a lot of business. That's funny because guys will come in with sometimes a big box of books. I remember one guy came in about 3 or 4 weeks ago and he had a big banker's box. It was just stuffed full of comics. And I think I picked one book out of like 200 books. I'm like, no. Yeah. And that was it. He was like, I said, just the one. Really? Just the one. And I could have said, do 20. No, I'm not going to do that. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that to somebody. Yeah. Press them all, grade them all. And I know there's guys that do that, but I couldn't do that to somebody. And I'll tell you, I had a client once, I think he was from Northern Ontario. He was a long distance client and he sent me a bunch of stuff and it would have drove Bad Hombre crazy because the stuff he had for grading to me wasn't worth doing. And I called him. Charles like, Kev, are we doing these? I'm like, I don't know. He really wants them done. So I called him and I said, listen, I don't think it's in your best interest. And it was like 30 bucks. It was at least 25 to 30 bucks. A big order, substantial order. And I called him and I said, I don't believe this is in your best interest to do these books. Like I would just, if you want to press them, fine, but don't grade them. Don't just take them and enjoy them for what they are. Put them in a nice bag and board. And he goes, no, I want them all done. I said, yes, and I tried to be as diplomatic as possible. I'm like, just trying to make you understand that once you grade these books, they're not going to be worth how much you have in them. So if you're spending $130 on book A is probably only going to be worth $70 or $60 graded. He didn't care. Do them. What am I supposed to do? I did them. He wanted me to do them. I did them. Like I explained it. But, you know, and me and Bad Hombre have talked about this before at the shop and in person regarding, you know, people's motivations for having their books pressed and cleaned and graded. Sometimes it's not about the money. And a lot of us have a hard time understanding that because these are comics, they're worth money. It's not about the money with some people. And that's you got to respect that. It's okay. When I started collecting comics initially back in 1985, I wasn't buying them because, they're going to be worth millions one day. I bought them because I really just freaking liked the stories and I love the art. And I tried to emulate the art and recreate the art in the books, in my own sketchbooks. It wasn't about one day I'm going to be able to retire on these things. That's changed, you know, and there was no grading back then, by the way. You know, that didn't come till around 15 years later, 17 years later. Once grading came along and, you know, the book started becoming more like a commodity. And don't get me wrong, they've always been even in 85 when I was collecting, there were books in the wall that were $200, $300, $400. I think an ASM one back then in a mint condition was an $800 book. You know, that was just crazy for a comic in the 80s, right? But that's how much it was. People didn't always buy them for that reason. So you got to appreciate that. Like this fella that was getting them done, he wasn't getting them done because he was going to sell the books. He just wanted them encapsulated. Now, he didn't tell me why he wanted them encapsulated. Kevin, I want them encapsulated because I want to put them on my wall, or I want them as artwork, or I want to, my dad gave them to me, or they're my brother's collection and it means a lot to me, or whatever. It's not my business why somebody does what they do, but that's what he wanted to do. So I respected his wishes and we did them. But Adam, yeah, I for most people, they're like, does it make sense to do it from a financial point of view? And yes, and that's what we do. We will help when we can, but in the end, it's up to you. And it's very important for people to, I think, as people that are as collectors who are looking at their collections as potential investments and what have you. You really need to do your due diligence. You need to start learning how to grade your books and learning how to research what the books are worth. And that's not just going to eBay. It's going to a number of different sources to find out what recent books sell for and to have an idea of what and also different variants and different, there's variants, and there's also like errors and things like that in comics, and just to be well aware of that, right? I never knew for the longest time there was a Star Wars 35-cent price. I didn't really know. I didn't care. I of course I know about that. I learned about that a long time ago, but for the longest time, I had no. I may have sold 35-cent variants for for what I would have sold the regular copy for. I had no idea, So learning about these little things is important, right? And because you might have stuff in your collection that's worth more than you actually think it is. But then again, learning how to grade is important. I'm teaching Jack how to grade right now because it's something that's one area he's not very strong in, but he'll learn. He's already starting to figure it out, and over time he's going to get stronger at that. And it'd be great to have someone to jump ideas off of it and throw grades back and forth. Charlo and I were talking today about that. We're kind of in sync in terms of our grading. Our own standards. When I say a 9.2, it's usually within a grade up or down of each other. You need to learn how to do that. Learning how to grade is very important. And then from there, you can determine what your books are going to come back at, and then you can find out what their values are, and then you can decide whether or not to have them pressed, clean, and graded. And yeah, you can bring them to someone like me. But I mean, there's only so much I can do as well, right? I mean, you see me for, a half hour or 15 minutes on a Saturday. I can go through a few books with you, but I can't do an entire collection. So anyways, things to think about. What's going on here? Adam also says, oh no, who's this? This is Car and Racer. Kevin, happy to be back to find my books live. How you doing? Last week, a 9.8, 2 9.6s for me, one double signed Dark Knight. Happy to even get a 9.2 and a healthy 7.5 for ASM 33. Keep it coming. Yes, I will. We will keep them coming as much as we possibly can. CGC has slowed down a little bit. I've got a ton of books there right now, but everything's kind of in a holding pattern. It's kind of slow. It's kind of weird. Bad Hombre also says, I would not grade that X-Men 266 if getting a 9.6. If keeping book just bag and board in great Mylar, if selling, better sell it raw. You save on grading plus lots of... Now, okay, hold on. Let's see this 9.6. That's why, there it is. I found it. Okay, so Bad Armors, I wouldn't have done that book. But the thing is, I'm looking at this book, and I see two ticks, 3 ticks on the spine. The back is quite nice. This book could have come back in. I've seen 9.8s like this. That's the thing, Bad Hombre, right? It's like, okay, it's a 9.6. It came back in 9.6. I do see some ticks on there. The corners are really nice. And like I said, I've seen 9.8s like this. So what do you do when you have a book that's a 9.6, 9.8? It could. Now, if I were, would I have leaned more on a 9.6 on this? Probably. Probably I would have. If this was my book, I would have said this book probably will get a 9.6, but it has a shot at a 9.8. What do you do? That's where discipline comes in, my friends, right? Bad Hombre, that's what you're saying, right? The fact I have that inkling that in my gut that it could come back in 9.6, I should have put it down. I mean, if it were my book, I should have put it down and I should have just not done it. I think kind of what you're saying, right? Not a bad strategy either, to be honest. I've been burned that way. I had a few in my shop that were raw that I thought, 9.6. I put it on my wall, I sell them, and guess what? They come back 9.8. How do I know this? Because the guy will buy it from me. Submit it, Kevin. And then my book, and Charlo can attest to this too. He's done it many times. Many times I've seen him sell a nice book and he comes back a 9.8. He thought, maybe a 9.6, maybe a 9.8, and it comes back a 9.8. So there's that fine line. But you know what? That's not a bad way of doing things. I think what Bad Hombre is saying is actually a good idea. If you're looking at a book, a modern book like a X-Men 266, and it has the potential of being a 9.6, yes, I can see why a grader might give this a 9.6. Then that's it. It doesn't go. That's it. It stays in your collection raw, or you sell it and look for a better copy. You could do that. A lot of my grading has been to establish a rare comic, like Canadian editions from the 50s on the census, or in other cases like signed Todd McFarlane Spyro #1s, is about establishing value. Exactly. I mean, if you got a book, a special book of some kind, and you're trying to establish something, you're trying to build something, yeah, I can see that too. And I mean, you're talking about books from the 1950s that you know, you don't see a lot of those. That makes sense. They might not be worth millions of dollars, but you know, from a excuse me, historical point of view, important to start making to have those added to the census, right? I get that. Heck, sometimes cheaper to buy the 9.8 outright. You're right, it is. Especially if you buy a book and it comes back at 9.6. Sell it, buy another one, comes back at 9.6. You know what I mean? I do agree with that. Sometimes it's just cheaper to go buy that 9.8. Go find somebody who's got a nice copy of 9.8, make an offer, and maybe you can get it. Maybe you can get a 9.8 for the price of a 9.6. You never know. It just depends. No one should color touch their comics ever. I think we all know that now, but talk to kids from 1968 or 1975, who thought, oh, little white mark there, I can get rid of that with my little marker, my pencil crayon. Yeah, it was almost the thing to do at one point, right? Dave says, got my refund on my AS300 silly seller. Well, I'm glad you got that back. I'm actually shocked, Dave, that he did that, but that's a sign of a good seller. Please leave that seller some good feedback for sure. Trevor, good seeing you and the missus on the weekend. Sam says, can you ask them to point out where the color touch is removed? I'm not. You can, if they say there's color touch on a book, they kind of give you a general area as to where it is. Top, back, left, left, top, back of. Sorry, my gosh. Top, back, left cover or something like that. They'll tell you kind of where it is, or center, front cover. But if the color touch has been removed, and they're still saying there's color touch, I don't know. They never get that specific, as far as I know. They don't give you much, Sam. Blast Choices here. How you doing? I'm new to collecting comics. Does anyone submit books for sentimental value? Yeah, and yes, of course. I always tell the story of, I had a guy in my old shop in the old days when I was over on Simcoe Street. There was a guy who came in and he had a copy of Wolverine #1. I have mentioned it in the show before. That one always sticks in my head because this book looked like shit. This book was probably a 2. And it was a Wolverine #1. And back then, like from 1988, not the Frank Miller one, the later one, the solo series, the permanent series. And it was a dog's breakfast. And he goes, I want this done. And I go, boy, this book ain't worth $5. It's going to cost you more to grade it. He goes, yeah, but it's my brother's book. This got me and my brother into comics. It's my brother's book. I want to grade it. I want to have it for posterity, get her done. And so, yeah, we did it for sentimental reasons. And I've had guys come to me as well, the Comic Vet. I'm sure a lot of you guys watched the Comic Vet. He early on, I did some work for him, and one of the books was his father's book, or a book his father had given him, and it was very sentimental to him. And so, yeah, and I have a couple of books that I keep coming across, and I will grade them. And I'm like, why? Well, because that way they'll never be destroyed, because if they're really wrecked and they're really in bad shape. But they're the first 2 or 3 comics I ever owned. Like as a kid, they're my brothers. They were handed down to me. And I've bought copies of them in better shape since then. But the old ones are ones I had, the ones I stuck silly putty on when I was like 7 or 8 or 9. Yeah, sentimental is a big thing. And you know what? Look at Brad was talking today, the PSA Brad, we were talking about, there's a guy in the States, a billionaire who spent, like, he bought like a card for like 100 and something. It was a modern card that was sold for something like 180,000 US or some crazy, or maybe it was even more. Maybe it was 1.2 million, some stupid number for a modern, I think it was a football card, like a soccer card, right? I think. And people were kind of criticizing him. Like, why would he spend that kind of money on a modern card? And, who does he think he is spending? He's a billionaire, man. And I think it was 180 grand or something like that. $180,000, some people is nothing. A lot to me, and probably a lot to all of you, but to the average, the average billionaire, $180,000, they want something to complete a set or to have, they're just going to do it. Yeah. So if they've got the money, they'll spend the money on what they want when they want it. And that's it. And So whether it's sentimentality, whether it's completing a set, you want to have a certain set and you need one item to finish that collection. And some, if it's a lot of money, then if you got the money to, and you can afford to do it, they'll do it. So yeah. Send me a link. What link, Redhood? How are you? Good to see you. Hectic. Yeah, I've graded many of my teenage years. There you go, right there. Even if it's not worth as much, right? You do it because you love. Like I have a ton of my. I can't turn my camera, but I have all my Star Wars action figures right beside me here. It's the only collectibles I have in this godforsaken, awful room, which is gonna get updated soon. I keep saying that, but I got to find two strong behemoths to come over and lift this press out of here. And once I get that, I'll start bringing the collectibles back in. But I have my Star Wars figures over here, the one area, and most of them, not most of, all of them are the ones I played with. And the ones from 1978 and on, they look terrible. And yeah, I could have replaced them many, many times, but I don't, because those are the ones that my mom and dad bought me. Those are the ones I got, for my uncle, for Christmas or my birthday, or just for having a good report card or whatever. And I'm never going to get rid of those. And that's that. And yeah, they're probably not worth that much because they're very well played with, but they're mine. And they're very sentimental. And I don't think I'll ever sell that stuff. I'll die. And then if my kids want to sell them, then they guess they can, or throw in the coffin with me. I don't know, whatever you want to do. But I won't sell them. I felt bad because I sold about 20 years ago. Some guy in Montreal wanted to buy all my card backs. And I couldn't understand it. All my card backs looked terrible. And I had every card back going back to 78 for every figure. And the guy bought them all. They're a big stack of them. He had them cut. The proof of purchases were all cut out. He bought them all. He gave me like $400 or $500 back in like the early 90s for these card backs. I was shocked. Like, this guy's going to pay me $400 for pieces of wrecked looking card sold. I regret it now. Not because they're worth something, but because they were a part of that. The history. Anyways. Talk about sentimentality. I'm the guy who gets things graded for sentimental reasons, not because they're worth anything. And I know that drives Bad Hombre crazy, but that's just the way it is sometimes. Haggard, how's it going, pal? Good to see you. Colin, what's happening? Do people just get comics pressed without grading, or do they always get them graded after pressing? Good question. No, some people just have them. I have, and in fact, Tony was in the shop recently, and he drops off lots of comics just to have the spines fixed up or the comics cleaned up. And as long as you store them properly, they'll still stay nice for a long, long time. You don't have to get them graded, right? But a lot of people put the two together. You press and grade, but you don't have to. It's just, when you come to sell, when it comes time to sell your collection, if that day ever comes for you or a loved one, if you depart this this planet and you leave a lot of collectibles to your loved ones, if you have books of significant value, or even toys or cards of significant value, and they are not graded, understand, if your family is not well versed, they are going to get hosed. Right? They're going to get hosed. Grading the big ones, the valuable ones, at the very least, your family is going to see them and go, wait a second, all these comics just look like regular comics, but this one's in a slab. What does that mean? Let's go on eBay and check. And then they can see, right? They can check. It's not rocket science. So grading high value parts of your collection, I think, just kind of makes sense. Also for insurance purposes, for all, even for storage purposes, it holds the value. You know what I mean? So yeah, that to me is an important reason why grading is here. Does that mean you get every single comic graded? No. Now some guys do, again, but why? Because they want to have all their comics uniform. And this is the curse of a collector. We all tend to be a little OCD. If you have all your comics, graded CGC and they're all blue, you want them all blue, and you want them all graded CGC. God forbid you put a CBCS slab in there that looks a little different, or a PSA slab with the red. No, I can't have that, right? So that's an issue. But yeah, you don't. But to answer your question, no, of course you don't have to get them graded. You don't. Bad Hombre says, my opinion in grading for sentimental value is that people use that as a coping mechanism at how bad they grade or waste their money. I believe it's truly sentimental. If it is truly sentimental, then you should just keep it. For sure. No, and I think they do. I think if you are grading a Wolverine #1 in a 2.0, which is not worth grading, you're obviously going to keep it. You're not going to sell it because what's the point of grading it in the first place? You got to remember something else. A lot of guys will also grade them, believe it or not, for art. What? To decorate their rooms. Go on over to, has anybody been to HomeSense lately, or to any place that sells, decorative items for your walls, or paintings or drawings or artwork? Good luck finding something for $120 that you really like. You know what I mean? That you can put on your wall. So if you had an idea that you wanted to decorate a room or an office with certain items from your childhood or from your collection, and they're yours, yeah, you probably could go out and buy them. Maybe, as someone mentioned earlier, that you could just buy a 9.8 cheaper. Maybe you could do that, or just grade what's yours and you have it and you slap it up on your wall. And you don't even give a crap about the grade. You just want that up on your wall. It looks nice. It presents well, So there's that as well. There's that also. But I do agree. You could just keep it raw. You don't have to grade it. Right. And that way you could read the book to get the ultimate sentiment, which is you cannot get through a slab. Yeah. You know what? I don't disagree with what you're saying at all. And everyone that I hear grades for sentimental reason, it's always a crap grade. So what's the point? It sometimes is. Oftentimes it is. It does. You do make sense. I try and grade my stuff all the time. I tend to be optimistic. Aren't we all, Lord Thoth? Aren't we all? Giddy up. And that's why I would pre-screen 9.8 for that X-Men 266. Yeah. And then it gets rejected and try pre-screen again. And by the way, guys, hey, Caitlin, how are you? What Bad Hombre says here is true. Now, I've had a few guys send in, they'll come in with, they do a lot of CPR, they crack, press, regrade. And there's 2 or 3 guys who do it on a very regular basis. And they'll crack 10 9.6s out and they'll submit them for 9.8 pre-screen. And sometimes they get all rejected in the first shot. We pack them back up, wait a few weeks, send them back. And guess what? The next time, 3 of them get 9.8. Right? Then we take the ones that were rejected, wrap them back up, send them back in. 2 more come back 9.8. So it's not an exact science. These graders aren't. Everyone's got different. What Bad Hombre might give a 9.6, I might give a 9.8. What Lord Thoth might give a 9.4, I might give a 9.0. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. The standards at CGC, I hope, my God, I pray, are not that widespread. But for me to think a book is a 9.6 and you to think a book is a 9.4 or a 9.8, nothing wrong with that, because you're not far off, right? You're not far off. And I remember the conversation I had with what's his name, Steve Borak, is that 9.8s could be 9.6s can be 9.8s, and 9.8s could be 9.6s, and 9.4s could be 9.6, and 9.4 could be 9.2 or 9.0. I mean, it just depends on who's grading and what their peepers are getting from the book at that moment, right? And there's also an emotional way. You want to try to get the emotion out of it. Don't get me wrong. You like a book. Oh, it's a great book. I remember this book when I was a kid, and you're grading someone's book, but it's a really special book to you. Are you going to grade that book more generously? Maybe you will. Or maybe and this is what I don't like, maybe who owns that book and you love that person. You're a big fan. Are you going to grade that book a little more generously? But if you dislike that person or you don't really care for that person, are you going to grade that book harshly or more harshly? That's the thing I don't like. That's the part of the grading business I don't like. I don't think that any grader should know whose books they're working on. And I think I do believe they do know, or they can find out should they wish. Adam says, "Hey Kev, what submission month are you and the team?" Oh, we're moving right along. Like if you give us a book like today, we'll have those books once they're paid. Once the invoice is paid and moving, we're on your books probably within about a week. Yeah, we've got a few massive collections in, like big submissions in over the last 4 weeks. So we're chugging right along. but it's not a huge turnaround time. To get your books back from CGC, press graded, shipped, back in your hands, you're probably looking at no more than 4 months. Magazines have been a bit funny. They've been a bit longer with those, but comics, yeah, within, I say 3 to 4 months. And if it's a high value or an unlimited, then it's even quicker. Lord Thoughts, show in the doll where they color touched you. Show, what? Show in the doll where they color touched you. I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure. Light color touch in cover. Sorry, not sure why I said removed. It was supposed to say, can you ask CC to tell you where the color touch was? Yeah, I think you can. But it's not like a longitude, latitude thing where it's, right there. It's like upper left front cover, or lower left front cover. It's usually that way. And they usually say that anyways. Warren Meredith, where have you been? I haven't seen you here in millions of years. Hope you're doing well out in the Niagara Falls. That's the one. Celebrini Gold Outburst 1-to-1 on Goblin. That's the one. Golden. That's the one. Good. That's the one I was talking about. People were really, this billionaire bought this card. You know what it sold for, Blastoise? But that is the one. Oh, Redhood Comic. You want to come on and say hi? I'm sorry. Hold on, buddy. Let's bring Redhood on. He can come on while I do my second box here. Let me get my link here. Let's hear somebody else. There's this. Got that. Redhood, how do I send me your email? Because I don't think I don't have my Instagram on here. Yeah, Red Hood, send me your email privately if you'd like. I think you can send me a private chat. There we go. Yeah, send me a private chat and I'll send you the link. I have it right here. I just don't know how to send it. Well, actually, you know what? I'll put the link right here. I don't think everybody's going to want to come on here. Here's the link right here. This is the link to go on to the live stream. Guys, don't everybody want to come on? I don't think everybody's going to come on here with me anyways. All right. Who else is here? Post Malone. Post Malone bought that magic card from the kid in Toronto, one of a kind, Lord of the Rings card. That these guys got tons of money. They're going to spend the money, and they don't mind spending the money. So whatever. If I was a billionaire, I'd be buying everything. anything I wanted, Sounds like the Spider-Man Don Ross so-called rookie card from 65 or complete set sold. I saw that for $200,000. I cannot believe those Don Ross cards and what they're going for. It's absolute madness. Absolute madness. Red Hood, thank you for the super sticker, man. Appreciate it. Spawn Life, first time watching. Where are you located? Spawn Life, I am up in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. Where's that? That's about a 30 to 40 minute drive east of Toronto. Lord Thoth says, I'm more interested in grading my golden and silver age stuff, not modern craft. And you know what? There you go too. And that could be another thing. You know what? I don't want to grade my modern stuff. I'm going to grade my silver age. I'm going to grade my golden age. And you know what? A lot of guys are into that too. And you know what? That's kind of where I lean. The only time I'll grade a modern book, if it's a super key, if New Mutants 98 or an X-Men 266, but it has to be. And unlike Bad Hombre, who does use the pre-screen, I just kind of know if a book's going to be a 9.8, and I just send it in. I just don't buy. I just send it in and let it go. And usually I'm pretty good at getting a 9.8 out of my moderns. I for crying out loud, I hope I am. I'm doing this long enough. And don't get me wrong, I'm not always a winner, but like most of the time I am. So I just kind of go ahead and do it. But he's sending in many, 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 and he's also sending in very interesting books. What Bad Hombre is sending is a lot of times run books from like Iron Man or the Hulk or early, late Bronze Age Marvels and things like that, 1978, 1977, 1976. And sometimes it's just run books that would not be worth sending in at all unless they get a 9.8. So that's what he's doing. I'm talking about like keys, like, again, New Mutants 98 or, First Appearance of Rogue and Avengers Annual 10, that sort of thing. Peter says, yet some modern comics due to great demand command a higher price than many of my raw 60s and golden age comics that should command. Absolute Batman. Anybody? Yeah, you got that right. Blastoise. Bingo. Car and Racers. Peter, you guys are having a conversation. That's cool. Oh, here he is. Hello.
What's up, stranger?
Holy cow, it's been a million years.
How's it going, dude?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you.
You too. I'm gonna put my volume. Oh, I got my remote here, so I got some music going in the background. It's a little loud for me. Oh, there we go.
I saw you on. I said, man, let me hit up Kevin, man. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Much like you, pressed a lot of books, man.
Yeah, and I missed you in San Diego this year. You didn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, man, I had such a good time last year, man. Just it didn't work out. I kind of want to go to New York. That's going to be a big deal with Mark Spears and McFarlane out there. So
a lot of guys are saying they're going this year to New York, but October is such a bad month for me to go. So maybe when I retire, I'll go the following year. We'll see.
Yeah.
But I'm planning on doing San Diego again next year.
I'll be in San Diego next year.
Yeah, it's friggin' cost so much money, but it's just fun to be there amongst everybody, and in that California sun, which I love.
Man, I don't know who you killed to get into Hall H, man. Who?
I'll tell you, it was very, and I'll tell the story again. It was unbelievable because I was a whiny little beep because my son really wanted to do it. And I wouldn't have done it otherwise because Jack wanted to go. He was 16 years old. Dad, we got to do it. Fine. So I had a client of mine reach out to me and say, Kevin, we are in a group and we organize the whole thing. And you just you come in and you do your 4-hour your shift. And then you get your bracelet and we're in together and we usually get front row seats. Wow. And so he goes, we organize everything. He said, do you want to do it? I said, sure. Then he's calling me and saying, we got to be up at like 6:00 in the morning. And 3 days in a row, I'm like, oh my God, it's my vacation. I got to wake up at 5:30 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was not happy. So we did it. But anyways, long story short, we did this with him. We had some glitches. We had some chinks in the armor. And unfortunately, we didn't get front row seats. Initially we got in there. And then this guy, I told my son, I said, sit in the back area. We had a decent seat, but they weren't front row. And I just went up to the front, looked around, and guys looking at me. I go, are these 2 seats? He goes, yeah, they're taken. He goes, do you need seats? I go, yeah. He goes, well, they're taken by you. I go, wow. Are you serious? So I called my son over and we were 10 rows from the stage. It was cool. It was very cool. You got John Cena there and, Jennifer Connelly. It was a huge day. And of course the Marvel thing. And, and I was feeding John Campia and Robert Meyer Burnett. Like,
yeah, I was watching. I go, man, are they talking about Kevin? And I thought that was so. I'm such a fan of Rob. He's cool.
Yeah. Well, Rob calls me. Well, I saw Rob. He helped moderate me on the Thursday. We did a panel on Canadian price variants, and then he contacts me. He goes, are you at Hall H? I go, yeah, we're in Hall H. He goes, would you do like kind of give us like the inside? I go, yeah, sure. And so that was a lot of fun, man. I'm like, I have him on the video and me on the video, and I'm taking pictures and I'm sending it to him. And it's like 2 seconds later, they're talking about it. So that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun.
Were people watching you? Like, did they have like security? Hey, turn that phone off and don't be filming or any of that? You
can film as long as it's not during any of like the trailers. So you can film them talking, you can all that stuff. But when the videos come on, the camera's got to be away, or else they'll look at you. But I mean, I freaking high five Ryan Reynolds. He's like, walk right by me. Boom, man. It was awesome.
Who would have thought, man?
Yeah,
that was so cool for him to be at the con and just people not knowing who he was. And
yeah, I saw him in that Hall H about an hour before he went on. He was kind of walking around. I go, well, this guy's got a cool costume, and it was freaking Ryan Reynolds. you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But I'll never do it again. That's the last. I told my son, I go, that's it. Dad's retired from lineups and that. I'm done. I'd rather
Did,
just be chilling out.
did you pick up any new clients out there in San Diego, or somebody wanted to try your service? Or
Funny enough, I mean, I didn't really push it hard. Um, and a lot of the American guys, they just don't want they don't want to try shipping to Canada. A lot of the big dealers, they don't want to deal with it. They tell me, and I've got some great American clients, guys I've been working with for years. And some of the dealers will give it a shot, but they don't want to deal with customs. They don't want to deal with that. I don't blame them. But what's cool is during my we had the panel on Canadian price variance. A couple of guys called who were the panel, and I got one guy sending like 30 or 40 books in a couple of weeks, and we've had good conversation on the phone, and it's been excellent. So I mean, again, I don't go there. It's a business trip, yes, but I'm not like really pounding the pavement trying to get new clients. I'm just having fun being in the environment and checking out the artwork and hanging out with my son and going for tacos and enjoying all the good Mexican food down there because it's really good. And then, you know what, if it happens, and so be it. And it did, but it did give me the desire to do more panels, like to do panels even up here in Canada, like at Toronto Fan Expo or out in Ottawa or Montreal. So I'm gonna probably look into that in the next little while. Do you do panels ever?
So we were lucky enough, like on the podcast that I'm on, Beyond Wednesdays, we did a panel with Mark Spears
Nice.
at MegaCon. So, but it was kind of brief, but it wasn't about pressing or anything. It was more in line with what Mark Spears has been doing with monsters and things like that.
Yeah, they when I approached San Diego to do a panel, I gave them like a few options. I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, and they chose the Canadian price variant one. They go, it's more in line with what we want to talk about in terms of education and history of comics and that sort of thing.
Sure.
They really were into it, hardcore. I thought something on conservation and pressing would be a little more desirable, and whatever. And I was going to invite, Matt Nelson even, or even some of you guys. I talked to Shelby and some of the guys to come in. They were all interested, but the thing is with the panels at San Diego, they don't give you a lot of turnaround. You don't know you're doing it until like 3 weeks before the friggin' panel. So what do you do if you don't have a hotel? Then what are you going to do? You have no flights. Yeah. So that I thought. So what I did is I was going to go regardless. So I bought the tickets. I had the tickets. I bought the hotel room, and but Angelo, who came in from Montreal, who was like the real pro on CPVs. I said, don't get a hotel. Just crash with me, just in case we don't get this thing, and then we get we'll get you into the show somehow. But anyways, long story short, we got in, but it was kind of hairy near the end there. I didn't like the way they did that. That was kind of a lot of last minute stuff, right? But very convoluted process. It was very strange.
So what was the big take around Canadian price variance? Just the scarcity and well, I'm sure that's got to be the main thing, right? Just because of as more and more collectors get into this thing, you want to find books with meat on the bone, And
well, I think the beautiful thing about Canadian price variance, and without having Angelo here to talk about it at length, I mean, from what I get from it is the fact that you're dealing with modern books, and there's so many of them out there. And then this kind of, you have the newsstands, which of course are a smaller percentage, but then the Canadian price variants are an even smaller percentage of the makeup and what's out there. And they're all printed at the same place at the same time. They just have a different, indication of price on it. They're a newsstand comic, but with a different price on it. And so that's why they're so sought after. I mean, like something like the ASM 252 or the first Hobgoblin 238, they're worth big money in CPV, And so yeah, it's just trying. It's a scarcer thing. I mean, John was on here earlier. John Sherwood is here. He just told me he sold. I don't know if John's still here or not, but he sold his copy of Marvel Team Up 141. That's an impossible book to find in CPV. Hard book to get in a 9.8 to begin with. And then you get
is that the purple cover, the Art Adams?
Yeah, hard book to get a 9.8 to begin with, and then to get a 9.8 copy, it's like cha-ching, right? You're talking $3,000, $4,000 book, right? And that's wow, and it's CPV.
I
So
had picked up a John Burke 141 from the John Burke collection.
okay,
Uh, he was a big time collector for years and years, and then he just decided he was going to sell off his collection. It was almost like a provenance kind of label from the John Burke collection,
right.
and that and it's a 9.8, but they gave it a 9.6. Like I can't find a single tick on it, or and I'm just like I'm not going to crack it.
Oh, here we got a question for you, Red Hood.
For me.
Yeah, sorry, who's Red Hood Comics? Introduce yourself. I should have done that already. Sorry.
Oh, I'm a presser here in the United States. I'm in Texas, and um, I press books much like Kevin. We're kind of the same kind of guy. We love comics. We love fixing comics. You know, we love making. I mean, it's the best kind of customer service, right? With it's I guess the reckoning as far as the recognition of, hey, he fixed my book. I was able to make a profit and then buy another book that I wanted, and that those are stories that you like to hear. But yeah, I press books like Kevin, and we it's a grind,
Yeah.
because you're trying to get the best possible grade for your clients, at the end of the day, to validate why they're sending you the books to you. I mean, you're doing the we're not perfect. We don't walk on water, and the grade is the grade, because it's very subjective. But that's why you take a lot of before and afters. I've seen on your IG, Kevin, like a lot of finger bends and things like that, and to get them out, those are very tricky, and I think if people knew the process and the things that go, because you could crack open a 9.6 and fix the flaws that clearly you identify, but they may spot something else, and it's like, man, this book looks completely better, but it's still a 9.6, and that sometimes those things are a little frustrating.
Oh, big time. It's funny story. The other day, a fella came in. He just had I think it was an ASM 700 signed by Stan Lee, and it was a 9.4. I believe it was a 9.2 or a 9.4. No, it was a 9.2. It was a 9.2, and he just wanted to have it. He wanted to put the custom label on it. And oh no, sorry, he wanted to have it authenticated for the
Oh,
Stan
okay.
Lee. And I thought, and I think when they first had the JSA, that you could just do a reslab, but no, you have to have it regraded now.
Oh, yeah.
So I called the guy back and said, listen, man, I'm sorry. I can't send it in as a reslab. I have to actually crack it. Well, I can send it to them and they can crack it and they can regrade it. They're going to charge you for a regrade. I go, that said, why don't I think I can see some stuff in here. Why don't we crack it and press it? And he goes, do it. And we cracked it. And oh my God, it turned out, it had right away. It had like, boom, you see those things. So he's going to be very happy. I think it's going to bump to at least a 9.6 from a 9.2. So well worth it. Plus the Stanley signature. Plus it's going to be JSA. Going to be wonderful. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you make a book look better, and then it goes down. Oh, wonderful.
Or it stays the same
Or it
grade.
stays the same.
That's the most annoying. That it's I'd rather there be some kind of a change, but the same. It's like, dude, come on,
Yeah. And most people see that, and they I think they understand that. In the early days when I was doing CPRs in the early days, it was very aggravating because if someone asked, I would just do it. Please do it. Okay. Now, before we crack anything, we look at, you, by the way, guys, you can't see everything through those slabs. Those slabs hide a lot of defects. You can't see through the inner well and the outer plastic shell. But now we're very particular about cracking before we crack. Because once you crack it, that 9.4 or the 9.6 is no longer a 9.4. It's nothing. You're starting from scratch. And, that said, the grading standards at CGC have changed too, big time. I think they have in the last 5 years. Do you notice anything like that?
Do you think they're a little more lenient?
For example, Silver Age books that were
Bronze.
how am I trying to say? Books that were 10 years ago are now getting 3s. That kind of thing. Like I noticed that they're much more lenient on spine wear, on Silver Age Marvels, for example, or any Silver Age book for that matter, where a book would get a 2 or a 2.5. Now they're getting a 3 or a 3.5. I did notice that.
I talked to Matt Nelson, and one thing was telling that if you have a book and it presents like it's graded at like a 7.5, but
Right.
the cover has a luster and a sheen to it that presents even higher than that. Does that take into account like the eye appeal?
Right.
And he goes, absolutely. You know, and I think CBCS did something like that where they would give you a 7.5, but give you a check mark, which was, horse shit. You know, just give them an 8.0 if you're going to do a check mark.
See, I like that check mark idea, not necessarily for the grade per se, but I like it for restoration and conservation. So what I mean by that is instead of get rid of the purple label, get rid of the silver stripes and all the colors of the rainbow. Just give me a blue label and give me a check mark or stars and say if a book has 3 stars, it's fine. It's got 2 stars, something's up. No stars, it's restored. You know what I mean?
Right.
Something like that, rather than changing the color. I've always said that that whole purple label thing, it's a bit of and the green label, it drives people crazy. People are so OCD, especially collectors. They don't want to have it. And what's funny is I see a lot of these big guys like, Tom McFarlane or Rob Liefeld showing off their collections. and they all have restored books. I all do. They don't give a crap. They just want the book. But most collectors really scowl at it and don't want those purple labels. But I think if those purple labels weren't around, people wouldn't be so against restoration, or conservation or any of that stuff. But
I think that purple label, they wanted to shout out that like this like buyer beware type of thing,
Oh, I get it. And I think that's good. I mean, but I think there's a way of doing it where it's not so, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's good.
No, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, I think that purple label's kind of outdated itself. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because who can afford? Because the purple labels too. You can buy a Superman #1, and actually, not all of us, but some of us can buy a restored Soup #1 as long as it's restored. If it's not restored, even a 1.0.5, good luck, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Hey, do you want to see some of the books I got?
Yeah, man. Bust them open.
Let's see some more. I got one more. A lot of guys are here to watch. Let's see what we got. This is a strange thing. Here's a copy of Power Records comics right here. So you got the book here with the.
I have that.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Now, is there a right by the price on the corner? Is there a like a sticker over it?
Oh my God, I don't think so. No, that's printed.
Okay,
that's printed right on there. But why would they take this out? Why would they leave that inside?
What?
Yeah,
they took the record out.
They took the record out.
You got it. I've never seen that.
I know. It's like, well, wouldn't that be incomplete then? Now, wouldn't that be a
absolutely
green label? Right? That consistency drives me nuts. Inconsistency.
Why would they take the record out?
Dumb.
That makes no sense, Kevin.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing.
Like, if you hadn't shown me that right now, I would have assumed that any slab like that had the record in it. I would be furious.
So now what do I got to do? Okay. Lucky I'm a CGC submitter. So what I get to do now, I get to contact CGC and say, why is the record out? And, put it back in an ME.
I think that's a miss.
Yeah, I think
I mean, do they tear out the tattoos out of
exactly.
out of Amazing Spider-Man? Like, what are we doing here? What kind of precedents are you setting here, man?
Stupid. And then we got a Batman 609. I'm sure you see this a lot as well in a 9.8 right here.
Great cover.
Okay. Yeah, and then another one here. We got the 608 to go along with it, and that's also in a 9.8. Thank goodness, right there. Yeah. And most all of these are pressed before they go. Most people even, maybe you can tell me what your experience, even new books, people are getting them pressed. They just want them pressed before they go.
Yeah.
Do it, If a
lot of time, do you ever receive books that if a press isn't going to do anything, you don't charge them? Like,
I just don't do it. I just don't even do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But what's funny is a lot of guys will say, "Oh, I got this great collection," and I'm like, "What vintage is it?" "Oh, it's from the '80s." Okay, and they're like, "I don't think it needs a press because they're perfect. I bought them," and like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
and yeah, you're smiling already. It's like they always need some work, and you can get books that, and don't get me wrong, they're in great condition, but you got to remember when these are, especially if they're modern books, even the slightest little anything, you're going to be a 9.6 or a 9.4. So you want to fix those problems. And
I get it.
no one ever takes a book out of the bag. They never look at the back. Like, have you looked at the back? No. I asked that question. Have you ever taken it out and how to look at the back? No. I'm like, okay.
Do you get annoyed when people look at their books and they do their grade reveal? Oh, I got a 9.6. This is bullshit. I can't believe it. Like, and then I'll get the 9.6. I'll crack it open, and pages will be bent inside the book. Stuff that you can't see in the slab. There'll be folded pages, like not full pages, but corners.
Like CGC Benson?
Yeah, inside the book, like
it's awful.
Yeah, like there'll be like a page bent, like in there, just accidentally, and that's why they'll get a 9.6.
Yeah, that's horseshit. That shouldn't happen, right? Yeah. I always tell the story. One of the first big books I ever did. I'm talking this is going back like 15 years ago, 14 years ago. My buddy had Brian. He's sometimes on here too. He's still a good friend of mine. He had a Walking Dead #1, and it was beautiful. It was a 9.8 for sure. Send it in. Mm-hmm. Comes back a 9.4 or something like that, and it had a dog ear on the back corner. Dog ear, a sharp dog ear, like really sharp. And so I write, I go, "What the hell happened, guys?" I go, "I didn't send the book like that." "Oh, you must have." "No." "And do you have pictures?" "Yes, we do." He actually had pictures, thank God. We send the pictures. We'll send it back. They folded it back, and you can see the white line where it was folded, the white, and gave it a 9.8. And he gave it a 9.8.
Oh, come on. Like that makes no sense, bro.
So some guy out there,
like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, there it goes, right? Like that's what I'm trying to say. That kind of, no, what you did is you damaged the book,
right?
Give the guy,
you're on the hook for it. Give me another 9.8.
Right, you replace it, pay him out the difference, let him keep the book and pay him the difference between a 9.4 and a 9.8 or whatever. But don't call that book a 9.8 so some other schmuck gets suckered into buying that, because you know as well as I do, they don't buy this, they buy this.
Yeah,
right.
And now you're like, I wonder if
it's out there.
Reach out to Matt. Hey, now that you're the president, hey, bro, like that's not what you want your brand to stand for. It's like, oh, okay, just give him a 9.8 and be done with it. No, that doesn't make it right.
No,
and it almost like devalues your brand when you do that.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. I see a lot of books coming back with corner bends, and I'll tell you a recent one. I couldn't do anything about it. A guy had it was a 9.0 or a 9.2 giant size X-Men 1, gorgeous copy. We did some really good work on it. Duport did some magic on it, and it bumped from a 9. It was a 9.2 to a 9.4, but we were hoping for a 9.6 or a 9.8. It went up a grade. It looked brighter when we were done with it, but where it said the X, there was a scratch right through the X, like a very fine, like maybe the corner of another bag comic hit it or scratched it. And what do? The book did go up in grade. It did go up. It did bump. But that, and they mentioned that scratch in the notes. So that it could have been a 9.6, but they dropped it. You know what I mean? So it was like, what do? I had no pictures. Like, oh, yeah.
Do you ever like clean and press a book and like it has considerable issues, right? And then you press it and it comes out amazing. Mm-hmm. Do you ever go, shit, I should have did it before and after?
Oh, 100%.
I missed an opportunity.
All the time.
Like, I so hate that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you don't expect it to be that dramatic. Yeah. And it's like, and I try to tell people that too. I go, I think the book's going to come back like a 9.6 or a 9.8. I can't guarantee anything, of course, but I think a 9.6 or, and I won't really know until we're done. When the book's pressed and finished, like, for example, we did an X-Men, a John Byrne X-Men, came in on the weekend, and Nupur did the work on it yesterday and today. I reviewed it, and it's like, wow, I told the guy 9.6. I think this is going to get a 9.8 now. Like it's got to that level. But I never like to again, just like saying a book is nicer than it actually is. I never like to estimate what the grade could be. I never promise a 9.8. I'll say, boy, it's got a really good chance, but that's as far as I go. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. And cards too. We're doing cards as well, as you know, and
See, I've started messing with cards
Yeah.
now just
You have to.
because
It's the thing.
yeah, I mean, because knowing what we know now, right? After all these years, because it's like there's a process now that like allows me to kind of like fix them up, you
Yeah.
know, and especially like I think I sent it to you. Like I fixed a Spears metal variant from a Megacon variant. And it was scratched,
Right.
and I was able to get rid of the scratches. And people
Okay.
were like, "What? That's crazy!" And I said, "Well, you know, when you do this long enough, you pick up things and you know
Mhm.
tips and tricks and." But it's that experience. You like a novice just can't say, "Well, I'm going to get a heat press and put it at 180 degrees and then leave it in there and then when I get back from the movies, I'm going to take it out of the
Yeah.
press and presto 9.8."
Yeah, right. And cards, I mean, honestly, the different companies, like I've submitted to CGC. We stopped sending to PSA now. I don't send cards for grading anymore. It's just the wait times are way too long. The
That's
cost,
ridiculous. Like
no,
it's almost like they're never going to catch up, man.
no. 12 million cards.
That's
12
that's
million cards.
unheard of. Like
Brad told me the Nationals, they got, check this out, 17,000 submissions on the opening day.
that's
17,000 people are
like
flying in from out of country. He said the one guy flew in from Asia and he had like 2,000 cards. Here you go. And that's without the lower tiers. That's the high. That's still with like the minimum tier of $249 US.
like
17,000 cards.
you're a big company and you're that backed up. That's where you need to hire somebody that can get you out from under that. Like,
Yeah.
what do you need? Do you need some temporary hire some temps? Like, do whatever you need to do, get from out from under that, because that is just like you're gonna have people getting cards back in 2028, man. You know, I mean
Yeah.
that's
I have
unacceptable.
I don't want it. I have about probably 30, 40 orders left here, PSA orders, that I look so forward to. It's probably Christmas by the time they get them all back. And then I'm out. I'm done. I'll still work on the cards, but I tell people, I mean, everybody and their brother is submitting now. I've got here in the Toronto area, there's probably about 10 different shops that submit the PSA. So I'll prep them. You go somewhere else and they'll or do me. They got PSA in Toronto now. You can just drop them off yourself. So much easier. Why go through me? You know, I feel bad for some of my American. I got a lot of American clients sending me. I get more cards now from the States than I do comics. And they all want the PSA, and I just won't do it anymore. I go, it's too expensive. I go, now if they send me the paperwork under their name, I'll send it through their account happily, but I won't send it to my account anymore. It's just too crazy, too crazy. But anyways,
That's nuts.
here you like some Golden Age Batman? Here we go.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we got a little bit here. We got a Batman 13 in a 4.5. Cool, reversible if you want it back. Well, with the comics, if it's done right, it's also completely reversible.
Yeah.
That's the thing, Colin, right? Real conservation is reversible. Now, when you're doing hydration, like we were talking about, like deacidification, is that reversible? Well, no, because you're actually infusing humidity or moisture back into the books. And I'll tell you, I've seen Nippur work on a brittle book that was, if you would have touched it, it would crumble in your fingers. And she will do the proper deacidification. And that paper, like the next day, is like brand new paper. It's like, it's strong. It's not, if you fold it, it's not going to crack, you know? So some books really do need it. But again,
especially books with rusted staples that are almost going to break themselves.
yeah,
Like all that's going to do is hurt the page inside the book. I mean,
and
that's
the rust just turns to powder and
Yeah.
yeah, you know, You know, and yeah, so why not replace the, you know,
Mhm.
again, it depends how far gone a book is. You know,
Yeah.
if a book's really far gone, what are you going to do? But there are some books that are at that level that it's like, you know, just a little bit of attention will really prolong the life of this book for another 50 to 100 years.
Mhm.
Why is there that disdain for it? But it's funny. It's the comic people, and I probably the card people too. They don't want anything. You know, they're really fussy about any work. They're even more strict than the comic book world, right? So, I think I got a few more here. 3 more, and I'm done. Let's see. Did I do these already? No, I didn't do these yet. I don't think I did it. If I did, I apologize. I'll go fast. Avengers 12 and a 7.5. Avengers 10 and an 8.5.
Oh yeah.
Did I do that one already? Maybe I did. I don't remember if I did or not. It's worth looking at it again, anyhow.
Heck yeah.
And then last, the second box finished is Avengers. I think I did this one already. Avengers 7. I think I did. But there it is again. In case I think I did do that one. I think I said it was undergraded. Yeah. Anyways, there you go. So 2 boxes from CGC. They've got a ton of my books right now. Sorry, your books right now, not my books. And they're a little slow. I don't know what's going on. I'm not seeing a lot of boxes showing up. Do you have a lot of books over at CGC now too?
So the way I do it is when they ship books to me, they have the CGC form. So then I just send the books off and the books go straight to their house.
With the owners.
Yeah, the owners. Yeah. And that's kind of how we've done it.
So no unboxings for you.
I wish. Now some people like they said, no, I want them to go to you, and then you look at them, and if there's any issues with the slabs, then you can take care of it. I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, you know, and I'm sure you're kind of the same way. It's like I'd rather press them. Hey, they go to you. The less it travels in the mail,
100%.
the better.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's got to be real stressful for you, because I see like a lot of the books come back to you, but you know, you're a facilitator, right? As well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you can look at the slabs and see if there's any issues too. So
the reason I do this way, and it's not the way you're doing it, is the way I'd prefer to do it. And for my American clients, either they use their own accounts or they use my account. When they're done, they get shipped right back to them.
Right, because it's cheaper if they go through you with your account, right? Yeah.
For the Canadians, it is.
Oh, gotcha.
For the Canadians, it is. The Americans, they either way. I mean, they'll probably, if they have an account with CGC, it's probably cheaper to use CGC. But some guys just don't want to bother. They don't want to deal with it. Kevin, you just deal with it. I want the books to show up and be done, and that's fine. And I ship the books to American clients directly because it's economical. The shipping in the US is really cheap. Shipping here, however, is very expensive. To ship one book from CGC to say Toronto, you're probably looking at about $120 for one book.
To submit to you, Kevin, do you have a threshold on the amount of books that you'll take from a client?
Like a minimum and a maximum?
Mm-hmm.
No, I used to do like a 3-book minimum, but now I just take whatever people want me to do. I'll just do it. Yeah. And I'm shipping to CGC. I could do weekly, but I'm doing right now every other week right now. And I'm doing we're probably sending about 150 to 200 books.
Yeah.
Every week and a half or so. So they're still coming in. The books are still coming in. It's not as feverishly as it once was. I mean, you know how it is. It was crazy back in post COVID, and even just before COVID, I was friggin' rammed. Like it was so busy.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened, and then it went crazy then. And then the last couple of years has been really, it's cooled off quite a bit. And now cards have taken off as well. And I resisted. I didn't want to. I used to do cards for a dealer friend of mine, and I would do cards. I didn't advertise it. He liked what he liked, and I would do them. I do Pokemon cards and Wayne Gretzky rookie, whatever he wanted, I would do, but I never advertised that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the comics kind of cooled off, he's like, do cards, and everybody else, a couple other guys said, okay, we'll start. And the intention was to do submissions as well. But again, and my website, I had it all built with submissions, but I took it all off because again, I don't want to wait 8 months to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much. But we will work on them still.
Have you pressed books with a t-shirt press? Those clamshells?
Don't use those.
Because you're like me, like you have the seals and
Yeah.
like I mean that to me, like I don't good for them if they're getting the grades that they want, but man, I see like how they sandwich a book and they do all this extra stuff and
You don't need to. You don't need metal
Yeah.
plates. You don't need metal plates. You can if you want, but you don't
Yeah.
need metal plates. I've said this before. You don't need to go and buy aluminum metal plates for $100. You don't just buy one of these guys, even a small one, and you're set. Those Chinese t-shirt presses they get off garbage. I've been saying that for years, and even on the Facebook pages, I say these are garbage, guys. Oh, look what I bought! Throw it in the garbage. You want one of these, even one of these old ones. If you get an old one of these from like the 1970s, those they don't
battle tested, man.
They're great.
Battle tested. Yeah.
And you know how I know they're better? Because the first press I ever bought was an old t-shirt press. It was like it was local. I think I paid $20 for it. And I noticed when I used it, I'm talking back in 2008, like a long time ago. And I pressed and it was okay. And I could see that when I was done, it could do more, but I did see improvement with the clamshell t-shirt press. But then a seal came available locally and I bought it. I brought it home. It was old. It was friggin' the wiring was everything was old. I had to clean it really well. The first time I pressed in that thing, it was like night and day. I said, what? I threw that thing in the garbage, the other one. And actually I used it for a cold press for a while. They're good for cold pressing.
Yeah.
But for that first press, man, you can't beat them. So all these guys that are, these pressing help pages and stuff, telling guys to buy, I know they're easier to come by, but they're not as good. And they're telling them to go, well, you have to make this, you got to add that. And I'm not going to mention names. You know who I'm talking about. A lot of guys are pushing that garbage. I tell people don't. And I think it's great when guys want to try doing their own pressing. Go for it. It's fun.
I fix a lot of mistakes from other people.
Yeah.
Even
just today, a guy came in today with a Hulk 180, gorgeous copy. And he goes, I had this pressed by your competitor. I have one guy here. Oh, I guess a company that's local that I guess he's my competitor, I guess. And I looked at it and I said, what the frick? It was like the strap marks. Sometimes the comics have a strap mark on them for when they were bundled in the old days.
Oh, yeah.
So you had a strap mark. And I'm like, well, why is that strap mark still there? Like, what'd you pay for this? Same thing you charge. And I'm like, well, this would not have gotten past our quality control. This would have went back in, and so it's like, yeah, I just continue the work or fix a problem. People using the wrong release papers with like they use Teflon with the hex, you've seen that, I'm sure. It's like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'll have I've gotten books that have the parchment like you could tell they use too much heat, and so we'll have imprinted some of the paper parchment if it has designs on it or whatever.
That's what I mean. Right.
Yeah.
That's Teflon. And I'll tell you, when I first started, I thought, oh, Teflon would be great. So I went and bought and it was expensive. I bought Teflon because I thought it'd be a good release paper that would last a long time. The first book I pressed, I'm like, what the hell's all that? And I was like, that's like a amateur mistake right off the bat, that it would had the impressions. And you can fix that, but it takes a long time to fix it. It's and you usually can't get it all out, but you can. I had a guy in Montreal send me some books once. It was like 20 books and they all had it. And I said, who pressed your books? This guy, I mentioned the name and I didn't know who it was. I said, okay, well, he did not do a good job and your books have all been damaged. And it was like ASM 300, 316. It was a lot of big ASM books. And we did our best to fix it. It took them a long time to try to reverse that. But yeah, you're better to, look, people are going to make mistakes. Practice on shitty books. Don't be using your ASM 300s to practice on.
That's why I was so LCS that I had here when I started pressing. I started pressing around like 2006, 7, around that time.
Yeah.
Like he would give me all his rag books here, and then I would take it and he's like, holy shit, you did that, and that's the only way you get good is by just practice. like
Yep.
do it, the experience and taking on books, man. I
Yeah.
will tell you, man, like um people that restore books are getting good, man. Like seen books with restoration that like it looks fine, but then like you turn it in a certain way and it's like, holy shit. Like, did they like spray something on there? I was like, wow. The
Yeah. I again, I'm not going to mention names of any of the restorers that are out there. And there are some that are fantastic. Like the two big guys, they're great. Like their work they do is great. Um, when you see something on Instagram, it's and even when you're talking about pressing, like when we put images on, we're putting the best images we can come up with on is we want to wow people with the stuff we do. But it's very different than holding the object in your hand. Like I saw a guy do a card the other day, and it was like, wow, look at that crease he got out of that card. Holy, it was a Pokemon card, and it was like almost. But I looked very carefully. I watched it a few times, and I looked at it, and you could still see the line. But of course, he angled it a certain way. And of course, it's just when you try to sell a car, you know,
Yeah.
even if you're doing a dating service, left or right, which side's the best one? I'll get to my right side or my left side. You're always trying to make stuff look better. So when you
Yeah.
have stuff in your hand, you can see stuff. Like I did. One of my clients brought a restored book to me that he had restored by somebody. I'm not mentioning any. I don't care. And it was done well. But I'm going to tell you, in my hand, I could feel the restoration. I could see the restoration clearly. And again, nothing wrong with that, but it's not as perfect
Mhm.
as we might think it is. It's not as perfect a science as we might think it is. It's better. The book was falling apart. Now it's not, and that's good. But thickness of the page, the texture of the page to the original to the new, um, you know, yeah. But you're right. Some of these guys, the work is pretty incredible. you know, I'm
You
not putting
know,
anybody down. I think it's fantastic.
no, I mean there's some like um there was a book I was working on and like the rub on it, like I noticed something and I put my finger across it and the the ink came off of the cover and I was like, what the fuck? And I was just like, and it was a big book, man. And I was like, oh brother, like what the hell happened here? And it's just one of those things like it when in doubt, don't touch it.
No.
It's just like,
Well,
hey, call the client. Hey man, I think there's something up with this book.
well, the old Silver Age books, what's happening, what you mentioned there is very common on, especially on AF-15,
Oh, this was a
FF1,
modern, it was a modern book.
modern book, and the ink came off it just by touching it. Weird. Yeah, I find the modern stuff, if you wipe it, you try to clean it too much, it'll just wipe. The inks are so cheap and shitty now. It's modern books are very, very temperamental.
Think your sound went out.
There we go. Hit my
Okay.
mute button. Thanks. My favorite is the Bronze Age, obviously, and 1960s, 1970s, 1980s. Love working on that stuff. When it comes to the modern stuff, no, don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's not a lot of fun. We get great results, but
I mean, the cover of the paper feels like what the inside of the pages used to feel like.
yeah,
So basically, you're pressing pages of a book as opposed to a cover. You know?
yeah. Well, that's it. It's like every page is a cover. It's weird.
Yeah.
I wish they'd go back. And then the prices are astronomical.
Oh, it's
You know,
ridiculous.
Dave, have a great night, my friend. You take it easy. We'll see you soon. Your books are at CGC. So now we just wait. Now we just wait. Yeah, we just sent out about another 150 yesterday. They should arrive tomorrow in Sarasota. And then who knows how long till we get them back.
Do you ever have people call you, hey, how are my books?
You know what? The people comic guys are better now. It's the card guys.
Really?
And that's why I don't want to do cards anymore.
The card world is it's crazy, dude. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
like I have Target here. There's people that line up and like you can just feel the negative energy like it's like and I remember some lady was like, we have a limit on cards. And I said, well, I'm not buying any cards.
Mhm.
I mean, I was looking for a gift or whatever. Like, and I just walked by just to see what everybody was gathered around. She singled me out. It's like, so I'm not buying any Pokemon. Like,
Yeah, they want their stuff yesterday. I get it. Everybody wants their stuff yesterday. I wish I could get your stuff back to you, but I tell people now, look, it's right now it's about 3 to 4 months for comics. That's pressed, clean, graded, shipped, back, forth, customs, the whole 9 yards in your hand, 3 to 4 months. If it goes beyond the 4 months, then give me a call or throw me a text. But please, I say, please don't call in that time period to see where the books are, because it's not like, you calling me is not going to rush speed up CGC. All you're going to do is waste my time. And what I mean by that is I got so much to do here. I have to stop to answer an email. Are my books ready yet? Well, you submitted them 2 months ago. Yeah. Are they ready yet? Well, what did I tell you the turnaround time was? 3 to 4 months. We're not even at the 3-month mark yet. So, but if it goes beyond the 4-month, then of course call. I would. But yeah, but most comic guys are really good.
I always say, I'm glad you called, because your books wanted me to get a hold of you. They miss you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think also, when you're new at this and you're a newbie and you're doing submissions for the first time or whatever, then yeah, you know what? I'd be kind of nervous too, but I'm doing this for such a long time. And I say, listen, you can always come on my YouTube channel and shoot the shit with me every week. And I said, that's where you want to ask me. Ask me when I'm on the show. That's why I do the show, right? Mostly it's to be accessible to people, right? So they can ask questions about their books or what's going on at CGC. That's the best way to do it. It's just hard. It's too many, a lot of books.
Are you collecting anything, Kevin? Original art or anything like that?
Original art. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm actively out pursuing original art, but I did buy some artwork from San Diego. I bought that Marat Michaels Invincible cover.
Oh wow,
that was cool. Well,
What issue?
It's issue number 1, but it was an exclusive for, I think.
Okay.
For Tripicon.
Yeah.
And my son saw the actual comic. He bought it and he goes, "Oh, and here's the original art." And my buddy Kev, who's on here earlier, he bought a really nice piece from him with Deadpool. And then he had the Invincible. I saw it. I said, "Oh, it's Invincible's hot," and I like it. I like the art, and so I bought it. That was my big splurge at San Diego. I didn't even spend time. I really didn't spend much time in the comic book area. I was down in the original art area and sideshow. I wish the statues were more. I don't want to say reasonably priced. I don't want to say economical, practical. That's the word. I wish they were more practical. But
the pricing on some of the stuff. Yeah.
But the boxes are bigger than me. Where do you store the boxes? Like I have several sideshow statues, and you put them on display, but the box is like 3 times the statue, and you leave that in your garage or it's just remember that guy Gem Mint? You ever watch Gem Mint on?
We've had him on our show a couple of times, man. He's a big time statue collector,
right? And you see the boxes, like, where do you keep that stuff? I mean, and I think he showed once. He showed I saw him at the PSA party at San Diego. I didn't bother. He would be talking to people. I didn't want to interrupt him, but I always wanted to say, what do you do to store all your stuff? Because I saw once he had a closet and it was full of boxes, empty boxes, because the stuff was all on display. That's a whole room dedicated to
that's the way my old LCS used to. They had all their statues displayed, and then they had a storeroom, and the storeroom was just filled with empty boxes. For when they sold the statue, they'd have to go dig out the box,
dig it out,
put it back in the styrofoam, put it, and I'm like, wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, it's I love them, and the sideshow had some amazing statues this year, but I just can't. I can't do it. So original art was okay. I probably should have bought some exclusives and brought them back to because my presser Charlo's got a shop upstairs called the Comic Loft, and he's like, "Man, I should have brought you back some exclusives. You could have sold them here. The absolute Batmans, they were going like hotcakes over there. Everybody's looking for that stuff." But I did talk to Marat Michaels about doing an exclusive for me, and so that's something that we might do. Why not, right? Something different. Do an exclusive Comic Doctor cover.
Yeah, to promote your brand.
Yeah, whatever. And then and maybe fly him up to do a signing. I don't know. We'll see. I sent him an email. He said, get in contact. He was very, reasonably priced to do the whole thing. I was actually really
Yeah,
quite
you
shocked.
should. You
Yeah,
should.
yeah. Why
You
not?
know.
But we'll see. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, do you have an actual shop there too, or you work out of your place? How do you do that?
So, like, I've got my man cave area,
Yeah.
which originally my wife was she was going to sew and do all this stuff, but like she never used the room, and I said, well, I'm going to take it over, and then she gave me grief until like I started showing her the money that was coming in, and she gets a kick out of the before and after. She goes, holy shit, you're pretty good. So um yeah, I mean, like everything's done here at the house,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I was doing it here too. So this is my old shop. I don't really use them too often anymore. But I just my issue was, I had a young family, young kids, and I had guys coming over all the time, and it was just kind of weird. And
Yeah,
your
that's
home
why
is
there's a lockup, man. And then I
yeah,
got safes.
yeah.
I had one safe, and I had to get another one just because of the type of books that were coming in. I didn't
Mhm.
feel comfortable.
No, of course
So
not. Right.
yeah.
No, I got the insurance and the whole 9 yards,
Oh
and
yeah.
and then I got the brick and mortar. The first brick and mortar was very small. I just had a small little office because for people just to pick up and drop off. That's all I wanted to do. And then as it started getting a little bit busier, I always wanted to bring a conservator in, and I found one. So I got into her and to work with us, and then I set her up at the shop, and then it was okay for a while.
Yeah, I saw that on the one that does kind of like what the fourth cone does,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She can
That's
do all
pretty
that as
awesome.
well too. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's just, it's very it's not cheap, right? It's a lot of labor. It's labor intensive. So it's got to be the right book. And
Yeah.
and she does do a lot. We've had some great we did a Spider-Man 31 the other
Okay.
day, and it was a nice book to begin. It was like a low 9, and it had a lot of tanning. And so she did a cover wash on it, which would deacidify the
Hmm.
cover. And I think she hit it with a shot of light therapy, as I call it.
Yeah.
And when I got it back,
Remember, yeah, I remember he's like, hey, does it work? And I said, well, I don't know. I think I can because I used to do shoes, remember?
that's right.
And then you go, did it work? I go, yeah, kind of.
Yeah. It works on toys, everything, plastics, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But you just got to be careful. You can't overdo it. You can't make it
Yeah.
look unnatural. But when she was done with it, I was very happy with the book. I thought, it's going to come back a 9.4 probably. Freaking book comes back a 9.6 white page.
Wow.
A $10,000 book. Couldn't believe it. So you get some great results with it too. But
The people that do the lighting or whatever, they'll bring back the vibrance on the back cover and the front, and especially the whites and the blues.
mhm,
But if all the pages in there are tanned to shit, they're gonna know.
of course,
They're gonna know.
yeah,
Like they're gonna like. Hmm.
you got to be. But I'll tell you, we've been doing light therapy now for about 2 years, I think, and we've got great results with it. Like,
It was
and it,
probably the last time you and I talked
yeah, we were
about like,
talking. We
is it
talked a while back.
possible, right?
Yeah, because we were talking because we were both actually Chris too, Chris Myers as well. Where
Oh yeah,
we were talking about, does it work? Should you do it? And people were really kind of nervous about it. Some guys were overdoing it. But look, I had one of my good clients came in. He goes, Kevin, can you fix this ASM 129? I go, well, what'd you do? Well, it came back purple labeled. It said cover cleaned. So I said, just leave it with me. I'll crack it. So I crack it out. Oh my God. It was like he took like Javex bleach. When you opened it up, it was like white. It was like white, like this. I'm
wow.
like, it's totally unnatural. And I said, oh my God. I go, what did you do? He goes, well, I just tried to. And then he cracked it. It was the second time. He cracked it and he tried to make it look dirty again. He put some black stuff on his fingers.
Oh my
He sent
god.
it back, and they still caught it. And they said, you're done. I go, it's toast. I go, the book is done. You're not reverting this back to the way it was. You overexposed it. You just overdid it, And so we go very slow. Napur does it very, very slowly. Sometimes it's very subtle, right? But it's enough just to make it look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And Yeah, the only times we've ever gotten where we've gotten pinched a couple of times, and again, I don't call it being pinched, but where she's done the deacidification, we've gotten back conserve labels 2-3 times, and most of the time they never catch it. Like that ASM 31, never didn't. We did the exact same thing to that book that we did to the other books, but and hearing Matt Nelson talk about it I think he was talking to, I forget who. Oh, I think he was talking to Dr. Paul, I think, and Phil from Phantom Restoration, I think it was. He was saying, he goes, we've got our eyes open for certain books. Mm-hmm. So I said, oh, there it is. I go, so they know that certain books get the treatment more than other books. And so then, you got to be careful with those books, or you just don't do those books because they're going to try to get you. And in fact, the two that we've gotten pinched on, and again, I say pinched, but it's really, the books are better for having been deacidified. But regardless, we're a Fantastic Four 1 and a Daredevil #1. Mm-hmm. The two books that Matt Nelson mentioned by name on that show, right? So,
because he used to do it. He used to restore books, like.
Yeah. And he said himself too. He goes, "You can feel it." I agree. I go, I can take a book, and if I handle a book, I'll know if that book's been worked on, like if it's had like water treatment of any kind. I can tell
the weight of the book too.
Just the texture of the book, the gloss of the book. I can tell.
Oh yeah,
and I'm sure you can too. And even in the book, when I was handling that one guy's X-Men #1 that had been restored, and they did some leaf casting and stuff. You can totally feel it in the book. It's totally there. It looks great, but the texture, everything's changed about the book. A1 job, but you can't hide it. You just can't. It's
and they'll let you know how the funny thing is, like, if you think you're an expert at restoring books, they'll tell you the level that you're at, like amateur, like semi, and then expert. Like if you think you did a great job and they tell you that this was an amateurish job, like that must really infuriate. Hey, wait a minute, I took a lot of time restoring that.
Yeah, book, I sure did. Know? Well, good news is whenever we've done when they've said that it's been covered clean, it's gotten the top, done right, which is good. And even Nelson said that. He goes, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. So, but I mean, it's a good thing for the book, but not for the pocketbook of the guy trying to sell the book. That's the problem, right? So here we go back to that thing. Are you a collector, historian, or are you into commodities? You're trying to sell the book. Is that what you're trying to do? Because if you are, then there's a giant risk. And I always warn my clients, even if they're cracking a book, listen, you're better off, honestly, don't crack that book out of there. Leave it alone. Just leave it. Because as soon as you crack it, it could go down. It could have been overgraded. Oftentimes they are. And then you're never going to get that grade back again. So if you're a gambler, fine. If not, stop and really think before you crack and press a book. I want to do a whole video on cracking and pressing books because it's a really, and cards too, in the new card world, especially the card world. They're so picky on grading. Like I see cards getting 7s and 8s, and I cannot understand why a card is a 7 and an 8. Why is this card not a 9 or a 10? Like, what's going on? What am I missing?
Yeah, and it could, man, like on the podcast that we have, I got a buddy that, like, I'll hold up a card and they'll say it's a little off centered. I'm looking at it and I go, holy shit, I guess. Like you got to have the eye for that. Like I got an eye for comics, but like cards, like to me, it's really subjective. But man, like to get like a Jordan 9 versus a Jordan 10, I mean, like it's minimal then versus like a 9.0 versus a 9.8. You know what I mean? Like the swing is like you can see, okay, yeah, that's a 9.8, but like a PSA 9 card versus a 10, like, man, it's minimal. Like it's like, man, what's the difference? I see 7s and 8s that look like they shouldn't be,
And I don't want to be cynical or anything or point fingers or what have you, but I also think that you said, what's the difference? And the question could be, who's the difference? That's the problem I have. And And again, I'm not going to point fingers or mention names, or I have mentioned names before, but I see certain people getting 9.9s on Silver Age Marvels, for example, that
Yeah.
give me a break, like
Yeah,
give me a
dude.
break. Like,
Like,
well, because that's the thing, right? You mentioned going from a Jordan 9 to a Jordan 10. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of
mhm.
dollars. And they don't want to flood the market with these, obviously. But you know what? You have that kind of power. That's really scary to me. And it should be 100% anonymous. You shouldn't know whose card or comic you're working on. That's my problem. And I see it at PSA and I see it at CGC too. I see it, if the grader wants to know whose book or item or collectible they're grading, I think they have access to that. I'm pretty sure they do. And that's a real conflict of interest for me.
Like for me, Kevin, like any book from the Silver Age or Bronze Age shouldn't be getting a 9.9. Like that's like you've already set a precedence. Like that's 9.8 is the highest. Now you've opened the door to upgrading basically 9 and giving that 9.9 grade. Like I don't buy it. Like you go back and that many years and say that this is a 9.9. Like that's, and once again you're really subjecting yourself to a lot of criticism. But when you're that big, these one-offs really, like, they're looking at it as like, oh well, we'll get the, sometimes that kind of criticism, they're talking about your brand, and as long as you're talking about them,
Well,
like
that's it.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I only ever got, I mean, I've gotten 9.9s, obviously. I'm sure you have too for modern books.
Mhm.
I've only ever gotten a 9.9 on a 1980s book. And I remember how it was a 9.9 first Gambit, 266. It came back at 9.9. And that thing sold like 4 or 5 times in the span of 1 week. And the final price at that time, this is going back like 10 years,
Yeah.
way before COVID, was probably like 15,000 US, 16,000. And it started at around like 3 or 4,000. And it just kept selling. So the premiums you pay for that are ridiculous. And the funny thing is, when I was pressing that book, that 9.9, if you'd have asked me what's that book going to be, I would have said probably a 9.8.
Yeah.
I would have said, oh, 9.9, you know? And to think that the graders there, and not to be pompous here or to try to come up, like, oh, I know more than they do. I'm not saying that, but I've been playing with comics for a really long time. I've been handling comics since I was 15 years old, just like a lot of these guys that work over there, these graders, right? What did that book have that made it a 9.9 over a 9.8? I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. So,
I
you know,
yeah, unless they're like, if that grader had graded 1,000 copies of 266 and this one copy, right? It's been documented. He's graded this book 1,000 times
that
and
one.
9.8. And yeah, and there was maybe 200 9.8s that he, slabbed and graded. And then he came across one that was just so amazing. Said, man, I had to. It was the best I'd ever seen. And it's been documented that I've graded over 1,000 of these. So now I can legitimately say this is the best I've seen out of all of them. But is that the case?
Yeah. Well, it's like he said, when they started giving 9.9s out a couple years ago, all those Wolverine number 1s that were getting 9.9s and Secret Wars 8s that were getting 9.9s. And I think again, Matt Nelson came on and said, yeah, there's probably a lot more 9.8s out there that should be 9.9s. So now you're changing the standard, you're grading your own grading standards that we've adhered to for the last 25 years. You're changing that now. So, okay, so you want us now to go grab our 9.8s and resubmit them.
Of
So,
course.
okay, well, that's bullshit. You can't do that. You just can't do that. That's the most unethical, terrible thing you could do. My response to that was, okay, wait, if you're going to change the grading standards now at this point, you got to say, okay, for books that are from 2024 and up, the grading standards have changed, right? Or whatever, 2020 and up, grading standard 9.9s and 10s are now possible. But on books from the 1980s and the 90s, yeah, we're going to keep
Yeah.
things,
Like no 9.9s.
yeah, no 9.9. So you've established that 9.8 pretty much as a 10. That's
What
pretty
was the
much just saying.
one? God, I can't remember. Like they may have had it at San Diego. Was it a FF1 that got a 99 or?
Oh, it was the
Oh no,
FF48.
no, yeah, 48, right?
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
a,
way.
and it's amazing. It was by the
No
same,
way.
I think the owner is the same guy who had, well, I wouldn't say owner, the consigner was the same guy who consigned the giant size X-Men. It was a 99. Amazing
Yeah.
coincidence.
And there was a Iron Man number 1 that got a 9.8, but the back cover was off cut. And
Okay.
I remember this was a few years ago. And then so I grabbed my CGC book as far as grading,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it clearly states that that is a defect, right? So if that's a defect, it's a major defect because it's shown the back cover. There's no way that's a 9.8.
Yeah.
And you know, we had Matt on, and I, I didn't want to,
Bust his balls too badly.
yeah. I mean, like, and having that job is enough pressure as it
Of course.
is, I mean, in this business, you need more friends than you need enemies. That's for damn sure.
And listen, I talked to Matt too at saying I met him for the first time at last, and he's a very nice guy, very, very personable, very, very good dude. I wouldn't want that job. You couldn't pay me enough to do that job, man. And I could see everybody going up to him, and it was all, asking this and that. And, he's trying to explain stuff and everything, and it was funny. We were off to the side, and our conversation went quickly to movies, and we were just talking about movies. Not comic movies, all movies. Yeah. And we spent about 25 minutes just talking about movies, which I love movies, right? Film buff. And I think he's a bit of a film buff himself. And I said, isn't it nice to talk about something other than comic books? Even in a he's like, yeah, it's all consuming, and he, oh boy, again, I don't, you couldn't pay me enough, I think, to be in that position where it's like, just, you are the authority and you are the one that, I kind of get that here a little bit, in a way, in a much smaller capacity, obviously, but it's like,
yeah, sometimes like I needed to at least take a couple of days just to kind of reset and just because man, it gets it feels like time to make the donuts, kind of like. And when I feel that way, I need to take a break, because every book like deserves like the best,
Yeah. Here's a good thing here. We need to go back to the old street price guide. You think Overstreet's on it's done? What's going on here? Is it on its way out?
I don't know, but their pricing is just weird to me. Like, there's no, unless they come out with something weekly, like then I can see. But I look at Overstreet more for the little things that they have in there, like first appearance, this and that. It could be on off character. Oh, I didn't know that character was in there, and they didn't even say it in like Key Collector or whatever. Like those little things that they've had documented. But like pricing's always going to be wrong, like your pricing is eBay, you know.
But I find I use Key. See, the problem with eBay is, okay.
If you go to the sold.
Well, sure, you go to the sold, of course. Yeah. But then you go to the sold, and it's like, all right, so this book sold for $20, but the guy's charging $20 for shipping. So that book's $40. No, it's 20. No, it's 40, because you just spent $40 to get that book in your hands. That's a great
point. Yeah.
And people don't get that. It's like, you can't. Well, no, it's only 20. Like, I sell toys at my shop too. Oh, this action figure cost $75. It's actually $130. Why? Well, because the shipping's $45. Well, that's not right. It's sold for. Listen, dude. Yes, I could take away the selling fees. You're right, 10, 12%, whatever that means, or 15%, but you still got to take into account the shipping you just paid. So, yeah. But going back to Overstreet, I liked Overstreet because, for me, if I'm pricing out, and I don't have a big shop, and I do have some back issues there, but when I do put back issues out, when I have the time, is I love using Overstreet, because for the run books, the books that not everybody wants,
Well, that can give you a nice, consistent,
and it's very easy. But
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But this year, of all years, I could not get a copy of Overstreet up here. I want the big Bible one, the big
Yeah.
jalopy one.
Hardcover.
Yeah, well, it's not even, it's just big. It's a soft cover, but big, because I'm
Oh,
going
okay.
blind and I need the big one. And I couldn't get it. And I was kind of pissed off. And I'm like, I'm calling, and I wrote to I tried to order from the States. It was like double. It was like basically the price of the book was shadowed by the shipping costs. I wouldn't do that. Couldn't find one in San Diego. I couldn't find anybody selling one.
They didn't have one in San Diego.
I looked, I couldn't, maybe I didn't look hard enough, but everybody I asked, no, I don't have one. I don't have one. So I asked a couple of guys, because I do know they were late putting out this edition, that they were late by several months. They were behind schedule. And I asked Blue Chip Comics and a couple other guys, are they going the way of the dodo bird here? Is it going? And a couple of guys kind of said, it kind of looks that way, or it's going to go online. Either it's going to go online completely, or it's going to just, there's too much competition, online competition now. So
you see the Spears McFarlane collab, Spawn 77?
No.
Man, that book is going to be incredible. Like, so Mark Spears, of course he's done the monsters or whatever.
Oh, they're huge.
Huge. He did the covers and internals and the story. Or he presented Todd. He goes, "Hey, your character Spawn 77. I got an idea for a story." And originally it was going to be a 6-part miniseries, but they condensed it into 3 issues, and it launches next month. It's going to be pretty wild.
Look, I'm happy that the Mark Spears blind bags were everyone was all excited about that. And then of course the Absolute Batman's really taken off the last year. The comic stores need that. They need that excitement again.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it provides some energy to the hobby.
Oh boy, because it was really good. And even I'll tell you, the movie's sucking so bad over the last 5 years has not helped at all. The Spider-Man coming out was really good. Doomsday, everyone's really excited. I'm nervous as hell about it, but everyone's excited about it.
It's going to be great, Kevin.
Yeah, I probably will be. And I kind of know the whole story already, but it's,
Who told you? I know who told you.
Who?
Campia's boy, man.
Yeah, he told me.
He is so connected, man. I'm a huge fan of his. Rob's awesome, dude.
Rob's a super nice guy. Busy guy, man. He is always going. You don't realize it, but that guy's got his fingers in all kinds of places. And I think Rob's problem, one of his problems is, even to me, he doesn't say no. You can't say no to people. He's such a nice guy. Even when I said, "Hey man, could you be a moderator for me at Sand?" Yeah, no problem. He's yeah. And then even 2 years ago when I came up, I had never met him before. I was so excited to finally sit down with him. And he's like, I said, I'm coming to California with the family. I'm going to go to San Diego just for one day. That was the first time I went. He goes, "Oh, I'll drive you in. Where are you going to stay?" I said, "I'm in Palm Springs." So, it's about 40 minutes from me. Just drive to my place. I'll drive you and your son down. Really? Yeah, no problem. So I go to his place, park my car, and he drives us to San Diego. And, he was great. Great guy. Very easygoing. Great guy. Even with my wife and I went to Palm Desert in March. We really like it out in as you can see, California. We were in Palm Desert. He came down and met us for dinner too. He's just really, really, and the guy knows his movies. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, so yeah, I talked to him on the phone a few months ago, and he's like, "Do you want to know what's going on? I gotta get to the whole thing. I know the whole. I got the whole script." And I go, "Don't tell me everything. Tell me." And he goes on, tells me this long bit, and he goes, "That's the first half hour, if that." I said, "Okay, that's enough. Don't tell me anymore." But he gave me some clues. And he goes, "Whether it's going to end up that way," and a lot of the leaks that have come out now very substantiated what he was already saying. So I kind of know what's going to happen to a certain extent, but everybody I think does now, and it looks like fun. I mean, it should be good. Please, gentlemen, another question here. Please, from Peter. How you doing, Pete? Please, gentlemen, what do you not understand that comic grading has no legal ramifications? The industry is unregulated, which leads to shenanigans between graders, auction houses, and deep pocket clients. More of a statement than a question, but yeah, that's.
But, at the end of the day, like I've had buddies that say, "Yeah, man, I send my books in without a press and I got a 9.8. Well, like, if you know how to grade your own books and you send it in and it's a modern, it should be a 9.8, or else like you don't know how to grade your book. Right. So when you're looking at these grades, and unless you are looking at a 9.8 and you see a whole bunch of defects that it really should be a 9.2, well, then I can see where the shenanigans are. But for the most part, 9.8s, 99% of them are 9.8s.
For modern books, you're talking
Modern
about.
books,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, what they do with the other, but the bronze and silver and golden, they I know for golden age they allow for a lot of, just because of the age of the book,
Of course.
right? And you look at it, there's no way that's a 5.5, it's a 1. But they allow, because of the breakdown of paper, whatnot, there's more consideration for the state of the book,
Yeah, that's always been the case with golden age books, even silver age books to a certain extent. They're a little harder with them, of course, but again, my big thing is the anonymity. I can't say it tonight, but anonymity.
Anonymity.
Thank you. I just don't like when I see the same people. And again, I'm not going to point fingers or mention names. You can figure it out if you're on Instagram. You should know what I'm talking about. Have these great books that have gotten superior grades from CPRs. The same thing happened a few years ago. It was it Metropolis or it was an Action Comics #1. I forget who owned it. I'm not sure what company. It was Metropolis, or
was it Nick Cage's copy?
I don't think so, because I think at that point it was still MIA. It was a book that was at 8.5, I think, and they pressed it once and it came back at 8.5. They pressed it second time, came back at 8.5. They pressed it a third time. Would you believe it? It got a 9. It's like, come on, man. How now is that third press on an Action Comics #1 now making that book a 9? Like that's just, they didn't press it right the first time. Then fire the presser. Give me a refund. It's horseshit. And it's all like you said, it's all about publicity. I think you're right. CGC 9.0 Action Comics #1. It's really big. Or this auction house has access to this book at this time. And oh wow, look, this book bumped from a 9.8 to a 9.9. I just,
what was the year difference from the 8.5 to the 9?
I don't remember, but it wasn't
now, like, the only thing I could say to that, Kevin, and if I'm just spitballing here, like, as the years continue to, like, we get older, are they considering some flaws, disregarding some of these flaws? Well, this book is 1930 something. And this is a 9. You know what I mean? That's the only thing. As these books get older and older, are they going to make exceptions the way they do with golden age? Well, it is a golden age, but are they going, like, as we get to the silver age, are they, like, you have an 8.5 Iron Man 1? Will it be a 9 as the years go on?
Well, I mean,
oh no,
that's just grading, back to grading standards again, right? If your grading standards are changing from year to year, like I said, I'm sure that I have a Fantastic Four 2.0 right now, and I have a Hulk 1 2.5. I bet if I were to send them back in right now, they'd go up a half a grade each.
Yeah.
I guess it's okay, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. I just wish that people's names, and people say, "Oh, Kevin, I want to send my books in with you because I'll get a better grade with you." I'm like, "What? What are you talking? Well, you submit so many comics." Oh, yeah. Oh, they're sure to give you higher. I don't know if that's the case.
I think, more than anything, they probably give you more scrutiny.
That's what I said. Yeah. Yeah. And you got to remember, I'm their competition in a way, right? Like I'm a presser. I'm an external presser.
Yeah.
But they're also, that said, if they were being unfair with me, I'm also not a very quiet person. If I see shenanigans, someone use that word shenanigans, I would certainly speak up and say something about it. But I have not seen that. I've never noticed them to be biased or, oh, we're going to hit him hard. I generally do agree with the grades. I'd say probably 90 to 95% of the time. Yeah, that's right. Because again, a 9.8 could be a 9.6, a 9.6 could be a 9.8. An 8.5 could be, jumping from 8.5 to a 9. That's bigger than a 9 to a 9.2 to me. Going from 8.5 to a 9 is a big jump compared to a 9 to a 9.2 or a 9.2 to a 9.4. Anyways,
You know what I hate? I hate when people send me books in old bags and boards.
with the sticky tape.
Oh, and I'm like, dude, come on. You could have put brand new bags and boards, man. You know,
Well,
it's just annoying. Then I have to go and buy some bags and boards because if I send them for them, like you leave it in that awful smelly uh bag and board that may create an unpleasant smell, that affects your grade too.
of course it
Like,
does.
you know, so you've got to send these books in a premier way.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm just like, next time I'm going to start charging for new bags and boards, man.
Well,
You know,
I throw it in.
I
Every
mean,
new.
but
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm doing such a long time, and you're right. Another reason why I don't like using other people's bags and boards. You go and press a book, even if it's a newer board or a newer bag. You press it, you put it in, and there's a piece of dust or something in there.
oh yeah,
I don't want that. I want the book to be in that bag, a virgin bag for the first time. And then when I go to send the books in, they're all even. You don't have like
hmm,
small, modern silver.
absolutely right.
I don't want that shit. So I put all brand new for the price of a bag and a board. I'll pay for it. And you're right. What you just said there is 100% correct. Love at first sight. As soon as they take that book out of the package, and if it looks like shit through the bag, they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth before. Or if it
Hmm.
smells like funny, they're going to have a bad taste in their mouth before they even really evaluate it. So you want them to evaluate it with good feelings. It's all
Hmm.
psychological, isn't it?
It
And
is.
yeah,
It
even the way
is.
I package the stuff. I don't know about how you send your books there, but what I do is I bundle my client books together, and I shrink wrap them, so they're nice little tight bundles. They're very, just cut it with a knife and it opens up like a flower, and it's very easy to do, and it's all organized. It's very.
And put them in order of
Oh
the
yeah, always in
manifest.
order, 100%. And it's, I do this. The spines are all
Hmm.
nice and square. But yeah, new fresh bag, new fresh board every time. Even if the
Hmm.
guy gives me a brand new bag and board, I just take those bag, I recycle. I use them for in my shop. I'll put dollar books in them or whatever. I try not to waste. And it does hurt my feelings because I know when they go to CGC, they
Oh yeah,
recycle all that. They just
they
toss.
just.
And I use those big 56 point boards. I don't use little. I
I
use the big.
love the 56
Yeah,
point boards. I love them. Like I testify to that.
yeah,
Like, man.
yeah. Because again, you send them in. If you put a bundle of comics this thick together and they're all 56 point boards, that bundle's pretty strong. You put that
Hmm.
into your wrap, and it's pretty bulletproof. I mean, short of FedEx hurling your boxes, they should be okay. And the boxes I send, they're usually about 28 to 30 pounds per box when they're all bundled and together. And it's okay. But yeah, we all have our little ways of doing things, right?
Yeah,
But
like my mentality is like that's the way I would ship my books.
yeah,
So why wouldn't I send your books the way I ship my books?
yeah.
Right?
Well,
So
I want the grades to come back as high as possible. And
absolutely,
and if it's going to take 30 cents or bag and board, no problem.
I think as a presser, like your reputation is like just like that it'd be gone. Like, oh, he sucks. It's like, you're but it's like you're doing this with your client together. Like they're taking the risks with you,
Mhm.
right? So why wouldn't you try and give your client the best possible grade you can? I mean, it's
Experience too, right? It's an
Mhm.
experience, and yeah, and it's funny you should say that. Your reputation could be gone like this. When I was in San Diego in the lineup waiting to go to Hall H. I mean, there was one of my clients, previous clients. He tried some other pressers too, and that's go ahead, try their pressers. You should. Why not? You might jive with other people too, right? You never know. But the results were not good. He just did because Kevin, they were terrible. He goes, the communication sucked. The pressing wasn't very good. When I got it
Yeah.
back, I'm like, I paid $100 to actually more than that for the whole job, and I get it back, and it's a 9.4. But I can see the flaws that should not have still be there. That's the most aggravating one.
Mhm.
You know, I mean,
Especially like when you notice like dirt on the cover. It's like, dude, as a pre, you should get that off. Like
yeah,
that's a gimme.
Yeah.
Like,
And
why
finger
are you
bends
at least cleaning the cover of the book?
and
You know,
finger bends. Like that's the easiest thing
that's
to get. Well, not
annoying, man.
easiest, but the most standard thing to get rid of. I mean, I think back to an order I got at a show about when Nupur first came to the first show with me. Guy dropped off like it was like 20 copies of Wolverine #1, and they were all like 8.5, 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, 9.4, 9.28. And I said, Jesus. And as I'm looking at them, I could see all the damage. I go, you didn't press? Oh, no, I got them pressed by, and again, I'm not going to mention names. I got them pressed by a Toronto guy. And I go, you sure he pressed them? Because I think some guys say they press them and they don't press them. They just, right? I'll take your $30. Thanks. And what are you going to do? You're going to crack it? Well, this guy did. I cracked every single one, and every single one came back. And every single one came back at 9.8. Not a word of a lie. I could even give the guy, if I wish he was here, because he could vouch for me. Like I could bring him on. But I mean, every book got a 9.8. And that's because this other guy just didn't either. I don't think he even pressed them. I think he just said, yeah, I'll press them for you and get them graded. This is the cost, away you go. And away it goes. And that happened to another guy. One of my dealer friends, he had back when Infinity War, the Infinity Gauntlet #1 was big. He gave me like 35, 40 copies of this book. They were all CBCS and they were all 9.4, 9.6, 9.2s. And the guy promised he pressed them all. As I was cutting them out, every single one they were not pressed. They just were not pressed. And they all came back 9.8s.
Maybe in his mind he pressed them.
No, I don't think he even did. I think he lied and just said he's pressing him. And he just didn't press them. He just said, yeah, I'll press them. And then, off they go. You know?
That's a shame.
But, yeah. And then there was and funny, when I got really, really busy, and again, I'm not going to mention any names here, but because you'll know this fellow, I'm sure. I was really impressed with his Instagram portfolio. This guy, and we got to talking a little bit. He's a nice enough guy. And I got really busy there for a point where I was getting overwhelmed. And one of my dealers said, I need these 200 books done. I go, I can't get them done fast. But I know a guy in the States. I could ask and see if he can give you a bulk rate. And so I put the two together, and he said, sure. And so I packed them up and I shipped it to him. I basically took like 2 or 3 short boxes, wrapped bubble, and just shipped them to where he was. And, they all came back. I got them returned to me first. And I was so upset because I recommended this guy and it was all full of dents and dings. It should not be there. And I said, I wrote him. I said, what are you doing? I go, I could have got you so much work. I go, this guy is so angry. And now I look like an idiot because I recommended you. He goes, I'm sorry. All I can do is what I can do. That's what his answer was. All I can do is what I can do. That's what he said. And it was a lot of books. It was a lot of books. And this dude lost some money on this one because there were no 9.8s. It was all 9.4, 9.6, 9.2, 9.4. So it had the potential of being 9.8, and he didn't get there. So yeah, anyways. So that's why I don't recommend any people. Can you recommend somebody in Toledo? No, I'm not recommending anybody. Just do your due diligence, send your books out, and good luck to you. And hopefully you'll find the right person to help you,
I've had 25 book submissions and like 24 of them come back 9.8, and they're like stewing on the one that came back 9.6.
Oh, come on.
And they want to talk about it.
They want to talk about it?
Oh yeah, this like, what do you think happened? And it's like, bro, are you serious, man? Like, I guess I messed up. I'm sorry,
Yeah, you guess you messed up. Oh, come on. Yeah, you messed up. Come on now. No.
Let me give you all your money back.
Yeah, every single penny. Yeah, no. Honestly, if someone sends in 25 and like 20 come back in 9.8, I'm ecstatic. That's like to me, that's a big win. Actually, if 17 or 16 come back in 9.8, that's a big win to me. If the other ones come back 9.6, sure, that's good. That's very, very good. Hey, everybody wants to have 25 9.8s. Who doesn't, right? And sometimes it does happen. I find it happens more with the pre-screening when we really scrutinize the books and then we send them into the pre-screen. I've seen 25 come back 9.8 or 24.
Yeah, because they want that sale.
Yeah, what they should have done for you is give you a tip. They should have done.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
Shit,
now I do have clients that do give tips. You know, of course, sometimes. I do have clients that bitch about it, anything and everything.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah.
I find the dealers, if they get a really big hit, they'll give me a nice tip. You know, it'd be nice if and you know, I have some very generous, and I don't want it. By the way, I don't need anything from anybody, but it's just
Mhm.
nice to be, you know, to have
Yeah.
that little. Because I've had guys give me, you know, bottles of wine and gift cards for steakhouses, and that's wonderful. I just, you know, even just a card saying, "Listen, man, thanks a lot for taking care." You know, that's wonderful. Just to know that it's appreciated. Because sometimes, you know, when you got that guy 24 to 25.98, he made some money on that, big time.
Well, if we both been doing this around the same amount of time, you know as well as I do, like we've made a lot of people a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Oh yeah.
I can promise you that.
And for a lot of these people, I don't charge. We don't charge enough. Like we just don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like because
yeah, you got to make it affordable. I get it. But that's why when if someone has a big win, like I know for a fact, I've seen books come back where you charge a few $100s for the press, and then they make the book comes back higher than anticipated, and they might have made an extra 10 grand on that book. You know,
what's the most you charge for a single book?
it depends on the book. It's a percentage, right? Are you the same? Like I do three.
So I've never done that, but like as like bigger and bigger books start coming my way, like that's like crossed my mind. Like if AF-15 came my way, like I would like no doubt be consulting other people within the pressing industry, you know, like, hey, what would you charge? Like, and get a consensus just so that number one, I want to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go from like charging X amount and then all of a sudden it like hit somebody, hey, wait a minute. You know, it's like, well, that's a big book, man. Like, what am I supposed to make $10 and you make 20,000? Like,
Hey, it's not only that. I mean, you're now working
on
on
the
a book,
hook.
on a
Yeah,
huge
on the
book.
hook. Yeah.
You're on the hook. And what happens if, God forbid, a staple pops,
Anything like that. Yeah.
right? Are you going to feel good about it? Of course not. And I mean, all the stress and energy that's put into that. And what about the insurance? You know, I don't charge, I don't charge people for extra insurance, but I pay close to $5,000 a year for insurance, for shipping insurance. So I don't get paid for that. So it's included in it. So when someone says, "Oh my God, you charging me that much for an AF-15," I go, "Yeah, that also includes shipping insurance too." Now go to FedEx and see how much it's going to charge. They're going to charge you for shipping insurance from Toronto to Sarasota for $20,000 one way. See how much FedEx is going to. It's $1,000 easy.
Yeah.
And good luck.
You know,
Well, on AF-15, a high grade AF-15,
yeah.
you're looking at close to $10,000, probably $8,000, $9,000 to grade it. Yeah, for sure. It's the way it goes. You know.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Because if your intention is to resell it, well,
Yep.
then it's a great value.
Yeah.
Like assuming that it's a presentable grade, because you know not all 3.0s look like 3.0s. Like you want the best looking one.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that'll sell.
And then keep in mind too, in regards to the fees you're charging. Usually when you got a book like that, you're consulting with these clients for a long time. I spend many hours talking to these people. And it's not just like, "Hey, thanks, bye." No. It was, in fact, the Superman #1 that I did, someone was mentioning about Superman #1. That was Dave. And I met Dave at a show 5 years ago. And he mentioned he had one. And I'm not a pushy kind. "Oh, I want to press your book." No. We just talked. And he'd give me a few books, some other books, and we'd work together. And he got comfortable with me. And once he got comfortable with me, then we got to the Superman #1, which we did about a year and a half ago. And you know, that's a hundred to 200,000. Actually, it's more. I think it's a $200,000 book. I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In like a 2 and a 3, it's around there, right? Mm-hmm. Big monster book. And CGC is going to charge you for pressing. I think they charge 3 to 4% fair market value. They ain't giving no discounts. I did. I gave him a Canadian price, and I didn't. If the book was worth 100 US, I said it was 100 Canadian. So
and they're not pressing the book. I mean, you know it, and I know it.
Yeah,
like, they may put it in a clamshell. You know, done, pressed.
Like I sat there and I dry cleaned the damn thing. I spent hours on that,
Oh,
dry
yeah.
cleaning it. Then I very slowly pressed it, gently. I did it every 3 presses on it till I was satisfied. He had damaged the book in that he put tape on it. He ripped the piece off. And he had the piece of tape with the yellow on it. And I'm like, he was hoping the yellow. I go, the yellows. I said, you got a choice. Either I could put this back on with the tape and it will look better, or you take it off and you have that ugly white mark there. And I called CGC and I called PSA and I said, I said, I don't think it's going to impact the grade one way or the other. It's going to be the aesthetics of the book. It's going to look better or look worse. And both, I think it was PSA, the grader that he goes, honestly, it won't hurt the grade with the tape on there or not. It'll look better with the tape. So I cut the tape really nice and I put it back. And I was actually just trying to measure it up and it kind of went into place. Ooh, and it stuck back on again. And I said, well,
Score.
I went like this. That was God. And so I said, listen, it's done. We were going back and forth. Should we do it?
You're a genius, Kevin.
Yeah, you're a genius. No, it was Jesus. I said, Jesus did it. And so it's done. And it looked great. And so that was it. And then we pressed it. And that was, but again, it was months of talking and going back and forth and emails and whatever. So it's not just a quick boom, boom, it's a relationship, and that's the other thing. When people are working with you on big books, they, I got guys dropping off. Like I did the most AF-15s I've ever done in this past 8 months, like 6 or 7, I think. It was a lot of AF, and usually you get 1 or 2 a year. I got almost 7 this year. I think it was. It's crazy. Incredible. A lot of FF and tons of Hulk 181s this year. Tons of them, like almost like weekly, 2 or 3 a week, and on average. And people want to feel comfortable with leaving their stuff with you, and that's the whole thing I'm trying to do. That's what I've done, I think. And so, anyways, it is. But most books are $30, $40 the press, Canadian, generally speaking. Peter G says how a comic presents should be included in grading, and degrees of fading should lower the grade. I think it does. Right.
It's always about the eye appeal. Number one, that's always going to take precedence. If you're talking about selling a book, if you're talking about selling a book, right? The eye appeal, like that's why like 3.0s, 7.0s, 9.0s, they don't look the same.
No,
they may grade the same, but they may not look the same.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all about the way the book presents itself. Right.
Yeah. No, I got you. But listen, I have drank 2 glasses, a glass of water and a glass of Diet Coke, and my bladder is about to explode. Too much information, I know. And that was 2 boxes. So Red Hood, stay on for a minute or two, and I'm just gonna say goodbye to everybody. Guys, listen, thanks so much for coming by. What am I? I'm at the shop this Saturday from 11 until 2. Pretty full house, but if you have books you want to drop off, by all means, you can do so. 11 to 2 this Saturday at the shop. If you want some books signed at Fan Expo, again, you want to go see Carlos at Gotham Central. If you want the books pressed by the team at the Comic Doctor office, just let Carlos know that, and we can arrange to have the books pressed and cleaned by us prior to being sent to CGC for grading. That is it for me, my friends. Thanks so much. Very long show. Thanks to Red Hood for coming in. That made the show about an hour and a half longer than usual. That was a lot of fun. Great to kibitz with somebody back and forth rather than you just hearing me the whole time. But listen, until next time, my friends, you take care. As soon as another box comes in, there'll be another show. Until then, take care. Have a great night. Bye for now.